Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some more MCS action. It is going to be a blast. Happy Saturday, as we are excited to get this first week of Premiere on tap. And Zoms joins me now, as always. Yesterday, grinded out some games with me. Today you're gonna, grind out some games, obviously. Shout out AK as well, who's sitting in here with us. I mean, we're just enjoying every single one of these series today. And like you said yesterday, after the stream ended, we were talking and you said, what is not to love about sitting here watching Rocket League, especially when it's teams that are just highly competitive. Shout out your cat in the background, by the way.
Yeah, no, they're fighting. There's actually two.
Oh, there's two of them. Look at them. They're ready. They're locked in.
They're ready for some Rocket League as well.
Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure. Go ahead and name us. That is not the right people. I'll take that away.
I guess I'm Stu.
Classic. I guess you're me and I'm Bubbly Reaper now. Welcome back to Culver's. My name's Bubbly No. Okay, moving on.
All right.
Moving on. We got to look at the schedule for today. Premiere week number 1, November 2nd, 2024. It's crazy that I'm saying November 2nd, 2024, but Senators Inferno is our first series. Buffalo Miracles at 3:45, Derecho and Senators at 4:30, Flyers and Victory to round out the night. That Flyers Victory series is your marquee match for the day. The marquee match will always be the last match of the day. That's if we have it. But today we will 100% have it. So we'll have it for you. And we'll definitely be looking at some stuff. But Zons, we got to do some things first before we move on to tomorrow or today.
Follow-up
was
is no
recap
good.
yesterday.
Flo will hit that to
Yesterday,
his
corner and challenger
That
week
one
number
just
1.
trickle its way in and just
Absolutely
flow
incredible
around.
games.
Trying to get something started.
Just completely insane. And that I know every single series was just too long for me to cover. It's why I didn't have that last series on, because we just ran out of time. And we played 3 game 5s on stream. We have all 3 of them were absolutely insane. We had that 6-minute overtime that you just saw. But that leads into our first, what we want to talk about today. And I don't know that being game 5 galore. There were 11 game 5s recorded yesterday. They could easily have won this game. Per the stats
from Papo
that have been the matches that have been sent in, there were 11 game 5s out of.
Nobody's home.
I don't know how many. Let me look at how many matches there were. St. Paul Senators team,
Flow, flip, reset.
Well, all of them. They had no reschedules.
So Papo in the midfield. Will he use them? He pinches in again. Not again. It's back to back.
Which just makes this a shot, but
16,
no contact made. So it would have been 11 out of 16.
Mistakes when he's trying to close out a series because St. Paul is
crazy.
50 in the midfield just wins the challenge.
I can't even.
A shot here does collect on it, and B-More is taking game 5. I think.
I have no idea what the record is.
We can't do anything about that per the rules. He has to stay in the game. The shot's on target. Papo ties the game at 1.
A lot of teams that are, wishing they played better in those game 5s because they could be 2-0. And then there's teams who really are happy that they played well in those game 5s.
All these games during the season basically are best of 5s until you get to the major.
Looking back, yesterday was
you got some rookies.
Some incredible Rocket League.
Only 3 seconds
Taking
to go.
that into
that
account,
one is going to go in.
Our next topic is who is winning. There are 4 teams that went 2-0 yesterday. The St. Paul Senators, the Fargo Steelhawks, the Omaha Buffalo, and the Rochester Rhythm. That touch all the way across the side. One thing, though,
another one that's on target. He catches
Fargo
sleeping for a second,
right
and
now
that is
all St. Paul, and they're at 4.
He was a rookie,
and that is basically.
You have the registered player tag.
It is top of the league for Challenger, but it's not top of the league for Rising
Flair
Star.
sporting the
Rising
same
Star
kind of
but,
design.
4 teams went 2-0 yesterday, and they're definitely happy. And one of them was the Steelhawks, who you're seeing recap of right now.
We get one on the board for
definitely time. Here's 40 seconds to left. That's 2.
I think
against one touch. You didn't expect the miss, and how could you? It seemed like a free touch for that Fargo defender. That's just going to find its way in. Flair will
and then still be 2-0. Takes a risky dive in the midfield, and now it's a 2v1. It's just open. I'm looking forward to that. Just Chili's never going to miss that shot.
On offense, looking to get one. That pass mid for Mal is there. It takes all three players from the Fargo Steel Chili to find a good touch. Does find Delfino. That shot is right at Eli, but Chili able to clean it up.
That are standing above the rest right now, a minute ago.
Triple commit though. Open net. Chili can't recover. And that will tie the game.
Even if it is getting scored on, I mean, you and AK were casting that one. I mean, that was just a thriller of a series as well. Where was the entire currently right now, if I had to say a favorite,
the Steelhawks is Slinky will get one for the road. The last time we saw the Outlaw's name was under Hibbing's banner still. That demo will come in busy open.
One team that didn't fare well is that Outlaws team that's on your screen. AK and I were kind of beefing during that series a little bit.
That shot gets underneath.
The Outlaws went on to lose their second match, so they're 0-2 on the season.
I'm looking forward to playing.
It is not characteristic of Dicey's teams.
Look at the goat. I literally said he'd take over.
Going into
your team is literally just a bunch of sixth graders. And Johnny we have from yesterday.
Okay,
there was a team that played some unbelievable Rocket League. Perusing through the stats today, this morning, trying to find what team really outclassed another. This was a team that went 2-0. Obviously,
sorry.
Look at him. He's nervous. When you score so many goals like this, give it to him. That was a good pass. That's the reason why you're going to go 2-0. They had 5 goals plus in 4 different games. The Omaha Buffalo in 2 separate games scored 7 goals.
Pre-jumping T-Shag, they don't get anything on it. Stratus clears all the way down, and that is 1 goal on the board.
But it wasn't in the same series. So their current goal per game average for all the games they played yesterday is 3.5, which is just ridiculous as a team. But they scored 7 goals in separate games against the team. I mean, they played some really good Rocket League.
Not a good team.
It's pretty hard to lose when you're scoring that much, but obviously the defense had to have been pretty darn good too, because you can score 4 or 5 goals, but like I talked about yesterday, if you're giving up 6, you're losing.
Flo will hit that to his corner, and that one gonna just trickle its way in, and just Flo turns around and
T-Jack trying to get something started. Papa with a decent shot, a double tap to tie it up with 6 seconds. Ridiculous. Now I want to point out that their also only game differential is maybe not because they had 2 game 5, so they might be battering teams.
We do not. We have a rule one. Mark down.
That also means, like you said, they're trying to start it off early with a goal, and B-more, there for the read. It does it all by himself. I mean, they are 2-0.
I don't know what happened to this so much. I mean, obviously they went 2 overtimes, but they could easily have won this game. Back shot from Papo.
Which are always scary. I mean, B-more, once he just carries it out really nice. No way, is that just going to go in? Nobody's home. I would like to see a cleaner series next
for this. Yeah. St. Paul Center's team, Flo, flip, reset, and you just can't.
I mean, he has Papo in the midfield. Will he use them? He pinches in again.
Oh, for sure. It's just over 2 minutes. At least a shot, but no contact made. And Zombs, you can't be making those mistakes when you're trying to close out a series, because St. Paul is 50 in the midfield.
They played Minneapolis, who they beat.
You might have a shot here. Does collect on it, and B-more is taking game 5.
Beat a decent team. They also beat Kansas City in 5.
We can't do anything about that.
Kansas City went 0-2, but they went to 2 game 5, so they did not have the worst of weeks. But
skims the ball.
We'll see what next week leads off from. But
I'm just excited, Zombs, because we've got Rocket League. All these games during the season basically are best of 5s until you get and we have got a series on our hands, like we talked about. The Senators and the Inferno. Now, this timer's going to go away because we don't even need a timer. It is 2:59 on the dot. We are about ready to rock and roll. And obviously, these 2 teams have not played. We were talking about that before we were about to start, is these 2 teams haven't played. So they're basically fresh. They're excited.
Lots of those premier games have already been rescheduled and played, but these 2 teams have not. Now we're looking at, number 1, champion last year, Mogi, and how his team's going to compete against my former GM and my GOAT, Wolf. Honestly, these 2 teams are just, in my opinion, these are some of the 2 top teams for me.
Yeah, especially out of draft. I would agree with that. Out of draft, those 2 looked good. but
once again though, it's so competitive. I mean, I could just I'm looking at every team and I'm just like, that could be a top team. That could be a top team. I'm just such a fan of so many of these teams that we really won't know until they play. So, I mean, talking about when we'll play, I guess we'll do predictions. Do you have are you swinging a certain way?
Now, obviously, I want to vote for the Senators because my brother's on the Senators, but also I think the Senators are just a good, solid team. But it's really hard to vote against, the team that is consisting of 2/3 of the Flyers from last season. Hi, Kitty. It's really hard to vote against them. But at the end of the day, I'm going to pick the Senators. I think the Senators are going to win that series. If you want to, make your own guesses, drop STP for the Senators in chat and use #burn for the Inferno, and we'll tally those up. But regardless, keep in mind though, I'm actually running a thing with that. So with the chat voting, I'm tallying up all the percentages, and it's going to come down at the end of basically this split. So send in stuff for that, but. I have the Senators. Do you have the Senators too? Did you have the Inferno?
I have not said yet. The last time I bet against Mogi, I regretted it. It was in the 1v1 tournament. I betted against him against Nightfang, and Mogi got the reverse sweep. So I'll never again vote against Mogi.
Can't vote against him. Never.
So I'm going Burnsville. A little bit of rivalry already. One of us are going to be wrong. But one of us will also be right. So, first kickoff, first game of the season for Premier, on stream. And it might start off with a kickoff goal. It will. And Mogi proving me right. Already got a goal in 2 seconds.
And that obviously is, 2/3 of that Flyers roster that won last season was Mogi and 40. They lost Water because Water's salary went way, way up. And so as a result, he was picked way earlier than, I think Mogi and 40 were looking for, so weren't really able to do much there. But Senators, Trash Wolf, and Pink. Pink is a rookie, not the Pink you're thinking of, a different Pink. But Wolf, longtime MCS player, been around for probably the longest on this field besides maybe Trash. But, we've seen what Mogi has done in his time in the MCS so far, has been one of the most successful players, and has done it all really for his team. And he starts the kickoff right away as two players from St. Paul going to run into each other. A little bit of a counterattack here. Wolf going to work his way into that corner, pinches midfield. St. Paul going to wait. That's a bump, a team bump from each other. Pink open net, and we're tied up.
A little miscommunication, it seems. They got just a little in their way and just couldn't get back. Pink is going to slot that every day. Throws it in the goal. We got a 1-1 game. Still got 4 minutes left to go. See it on the kickoff here. Just going to go for the kill. Views immediately close. Chi just throws into the corner. Lots of time for Trash here. Full boost. Gets pre-jumped by 40. Pink just going to try popping it back to a teammate, to Wolf. Just loads it off to Trash into the corner. Just putting pressure to... Oh, they're all three here. A team bump. Maybe a miscommunication. There's a chance for Mogi to score. They're scrambling back, but the Wolf, the ball just leads to Wolf in the corner and kind of fizzles out into nothing.
And that's really maybe a possession that Burnsville might want back here. But good first touch from Wolf forward. Will steal the mid booster's efforts. 40. Good possession play to just kill time, and then he'll beat two defenders here. Pink glass back. Has to make sure Mogi can't pinch this mid. Mogi does, but luckily nobody from the Inferno in the area to receive that touch. Trash should have one off the sidewall and does. Looks for a follow-up here. Mogi kind of misses the read, and as a result, one Senators player decides to say toodaloo. Infield from Wolf. Pink barred down, and it just doesn't want to go in, and I think that probably should have been a goal. Trash towards net is double committed by the Inferno, but they are able to get it out, and Mogi on the counterattack as he is waiting for boost and waiting for a chance.
And these rookies are normally so scary. Just missing on the goal line, just so close, and there wasn't a teammate to follow that up. That was just so close to just having that lead, and what a wonderful way to start your season. Just, I mean, against the MVP, might we add, of last season, got his own player card, which is pretty cool. But we're still just halfway through this game, still 1-1. Kind of gotten a bit of a stalemate since the first minute. Here we go. Seeing if Pink can maybe push this through. Just no boost on the blue half. Wolf trying to keep his distance, get beat out by 40. 2 players running down the field for Orange. Mogan's looking for a demo, but Trash just barely dodges it and makes a diving save. Trash trying to keep it close. Burns his boost, but he got past the defender. 40's there to shut it down. 40 gets a 50 out to maybe Trash, but Mogi's there to meet him. It's flying high on the backboard. Pink has an awkward read, gets a touch, and all 3 players on the Senators team are trying to push forward.
Ooh.
But they all committed, tried to maybe an open net that just went high, and now we're just back in the corner, a pretty safe position.
Mogi flip reset chance, doesn't really get it on target. 40 will turn and shoot, and Trash just can't get enough of it. 40 will actually get the lead. Not tie the game, as Pink kind of committed to that. Wolf had no boost, and they were kind of just starving for boost at that point and couldn't really do much, as you're looking for any sort of pad, anything along those lines to really work your way forward. But a touch into the corner won't really do much. Pink will collect. Does get views to go. Does flick it over the top of him, but Mogi's there to shut it down. Wolf looking infield, but just a little out of the reach of his teammate. And not able to do much, as 40-0 in the tank will shoot it at Wolf, and Wolf's touch just kind of get away from him. Will lead to a Burnsville, basic possession off the backboard, and now a free chance for Mogi. Looks for a ceiling pinch, does get it, but the ball will get away from him. Views will cut that out of the midfield, but that touch is not the best. Double commit from the Senators. As that clear will go down, Wolf should have this into the corner, and does. But only 50 seconds to work with the Senators. Got to find one to tie up this game, but they can't really get out of this midfield hold that Burnsville is sitting in.
They've been sitting in it for a while. It just seems like eventually their boost is going to run out, and it's just going to be the same goal. And Mogi's going for something special. He gets it center, and Fuse is there to clean it up. Mogi, what an outstanding play. Just when he's in the air, he can just do whatever he wants every time. Nearly gets the close range double, but, I mean, it's so good that Fuse is just going to be there to clean it up.
Yeah, and you're going to have to challenge him. You can't give him the light of day with boost and the ball, and he gets a great first touch. Pink, though, won't pop up, but is able to stay on this, and will find the infield pass, and that shot a little bit wide, as that possibly should have been a goal for St. Paul, as it might end up being one. The demo from Wolf. Pink will score that, and this game not over yet, 20 seconds. As that challenge from Wolf was the difference. He also finds a demo on Mogi, and when you demo Mogi, you have a pretty darn good chance of scoring.
Yeah, I mean, they missed out on that one chance before, but, I mean, they did eventually keep the pressure and get it back. But that is time that they need, mind you. And they got 15 seconds to get one. They are on the orange half. They have not been all game. The problem is, the Inferno just had full boost, and now it's just Mogi dribbling the ball down the field, just stalling as much time as he can. Now we're just going to be stuck on the side. Fuse trying to get one more, and it's just down. That's game 1. Inferno up 1-0 in this.
All they needed, though, was a huge shot from Mogi at the end, and a big save, though. But at the end of the day, you need, more if you are the Senators, because you can't be giving up, that many goals, because it's just not going to work. We saw the chances that they had, and it just came off of simple mistakes that Burnsville had. But at the end of the day, I mean, this was a Mogi takeover game somewhat. A lot of defense though played by the Senators, but we'll see what we get in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also just looking at the shots here. 13 shots to 6 in favor of the Inferno. That just shows where the pressure has been. I mean, they've just been on the Senators half, it feels like, all game, and they're really struggling to get out of it right now. And eventually, I mean, we finally see one of the Senators go for boost, and it's just in their goal. Would like to see them just shutting down Mogi a little earlier here. Now, I'm sure they've already thought about it. It's the first game. Also, a double coming out right off the kickoff. And we're just immediately back in the Senators' corner, but Pink with boost able to double it out. A big demo from on Trash, and 40 just cleans it up. That's a 1-2-3 play. Everyone getting involved. It just looks completely perfect offense right here.
And this touch infield from Mogi was perfect. 40 is able to find the shot, but this Senators team, I mean, it's tough because you're giving up a goal right off the kickoff, and this one only about 14 seconds into this game number 2. They got to figure out the first 20 seconds of their game because, I mean, it just seems like they're in a rough spot. Big save from Wolf, though. Trash will fake Mogi out, try and get one touch over. Views can't really do much with that. Pops up for 40. Pink is beat to the ball. Views' shot is placed perfectly, and the Inferno are up 2-0.
I mean, there were multiple defenders. Just look at their boost. They have combined like 20 boost, and it's just perfect placement. You can't move or with no momentum. They just can't reach the shot, and with placement like that, I mean, that's why they're down 2-0 in the first 30 seconds here. Another winning kickoff, another double demo. This time, Wolf trying to find some sort of double. Mogi shuts it down, full boost in the air, maybe leaving it for a teammate.
Anyone
Views calls him off. They all wanted the ball. They're eager to start attacking.
Yeah. Is looking for somebody from St. Paul there to challenge because nobody came up on Burnsville side at all. Zoms and
meanwhile, it seems like the Inferno are just willing to all attack. Oh, that's a good fake though by Pink. Maybe trying to force his way through. Wolf with a great pass. It's a front flip by Trash. Maybe he knew he couldn't reach that one. He's just gonna get back and play defensive. Pink is trying to find it through. 40 just pushes it back into the corner. Wolf maybe has a chance here. Maybe with a shot top corner. That's beautifully played. Wolf is playing outstanding this series.
It's a good shot. And it's good patience though. As he baits 40 into the miss, and Views, when you are stuck like that, deer in the headlights, not really much you can do because I mean you're expecting Wolf to go one way. He speeds it up, brings it a little bit quicker, and that change of speed really tough to deal with. But Trash gonna fake out Views, look for one more touch. Mogi might have the beat over Wolf, and he does. And it's one thing, Mogi's speed is very, very tough to deal with on the field, especially when we've been talking about it for the past 2 games now. St. Paul's boost conservation is not great. It's not been great. So if they can maybe improve on that or focus on that, possibly it could help them on some of these plays where it just seems like every Burnsville player is sitting on 60, 70 boost. As Wolf will avoid that bump. Played with Mogi and way back in season 8, made LAN and did pretty darn well, but now finds themselves on opposite sides of the field. And a 2-on-2, little mini 2v2 here, but that shot gonna be off target. Follow-up is there, and it just seems like St. Paul is just in the wrong spot on some of these defensive plays.
Yeah, there's just the challenge is not going to be quick enough, and it seems like they're finding space when there's no space to give, and they're taking every inch and just using it. And this time they get another goal off it. They're just communicating so well. They're playing off each other so well. It really seems like this team has got a lot of synergy already. I mean 40 Mogi teaming last season, Views fitting in very nicely already. This is looking like a dangerous team. Yeah. Trash trying to get something off the backboard, can't quite find it. And here we go, maybe a counterattack. Trash trying to find a teammate. It's a Wolf. Mogi's there to shut them down. And it's the shutting down in the midfield for those out passes that are just the difference, I feel like. Every single time they've gone for an infield pass, the Senators have not been able to stop it. But while the Inferno are not only stopping, but they're being there for the shot. And Mogi maybe being left in a tough spot. But 40, once again, is in the midfield, ready to cut it down.
And a lot of double commits from, this St. Paul side in the midfield, and that touch is going to get over, and not much, you can do if you're Trash because the ball is bouncing at not a great rate coming off the backboard, and the Senators just need to calm down and focus on different aspects of their gameplay right now. Their positioning as far as the midfield and defense goes, either turning too tight or just not giving themselves the space. And when you're playing a fast team like this, they're going to press every single inch of the field. They're going to use the width and the length of the field to their advantages Trash hits the bar. Wolf is there for the follow-up, and sometimes it just isn't your day. And the St. Paul Senators, I mean, the crossbar is just making everything difficult for them.
At least it didn't bounce up and out.
Yeah, I think that might have been worse.
If that happened, yeah, we might have needed to call it for a day. But I mean, 2 goals in a minute 30, that's so possible. Tons of time. If they could just quickly figure out what they're doing wrong and just maybe just be more aggressive. I really like this from Wolf, just taking right off the backboard, trying to outplay one and finding a teammate, Trash in the midfield. And Views is just controlling the ball. I mean, they do not mind wasting time at this point. Mogi offloaded the ball. It's a great flick, but it's high. Ooh. Trash is a wonderful save. It's going down the other end. Is it on? It's just wide. Views is going to have tons of time here, being pre-jumped by 2 players. Trash gets it off from Pink. Loss of space, loss of time. What does he do with it? He lets it slip, but it's okay. Wolf was ready. Trash is trying to get a bit clear. Pink gets caught out by Mogi again, but Wolf is there to meet. 40 gets a boom, but is demoed for his services. Pink trying to find a way to cut this down. Finds a beautiful way to control the ball in the corner. Maybe lets it slip a little bit. Wolf is going to have that covered. Maybe offloads to Trash. Pinches it over to Pink, but Mogi's there to meet. Off the ceiling, leaves it for Views, and Pink is what a wonderful save. And Wolf is trying to find a counterattack.
Wolf will steal that corner boost, but he leaves Trash back, nothing in the tank. They're going to leave it for Views. The shot's on target, but it's just weak enough. 19 seconds. St. Paul really running out of time here as they're looking to be down 2-0. And maybe good 50 from Trash. Maybe a 2v1 chance. They're trying to bump him, and they do bump Views. That will go in. And only 7 seconds to go. St. Paul making a run at it. And this 2-on-1 at the end, they are just trying to get Views away from the ball as much as they possibly can. They succeed in doing enough. 7 seconds. There is still time. But St. Paul really making a late run here. And honestly, they dug themselves such a deep hole. I don't think they're going to be able to climb out of it, as Mogi will basically fake that down. It will stay up for a second. Trash will get dunked, but it's going to stay up in that, Senator's corner, but not much they can do here. Ball hits the ground as this game is done. Burnsville's up 2-0.
Yeah, wow. That is a 2-0 lead right off the start. And I have no answers. Honestly, Senators seem to start picking up near the end there. They had their 2v1. They immediately took it. Every chance they had, I feel like at the end there, they were taking. And which is good. That if they're starting to convert these chances, unlike they were in the first game, that might lead to a better game 3, 4, and 5. But we just need to see them keep pushing, keep pressing. Because I feel like they're early challenging Mogi enough to where he couldn't do his insane solo plays. Even if they weren't getting the ball, they're at least sometimes getting the bump, which is more than nothing. So this game looked already a lot more life in the Senators, and going into game 3, I just want to see more of these infield passing plays. And I think I don't know what they did. I don't know if they solved the comms issue, but they looked a lot more confident in the last 30, maybe
30 or so. Yeah, a minute. Yeah, I agree.
30 minute
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's the simple mistakes that you just can't afford to be making, and at the end of the day, that's going to cost you. But going into game number 3. Burnsville up 2-0, like we talked about, but it hasn't been too easy for them. They've had to deal with, some pretty good shots from, this side of the Senators. As they're putting on more pressure on offense here, but not really much, to be had from this first 20 seconds. The good news, though, Zoms, is that is exactly what should be said, is not much to be had from the first 20 seconds, because Burnsville has scored first in both games so far within the 20-second mark. And to see them not get on the board here is a good find for the St. Paul Senators. That's an interesting card choice.
Yeah, and you don't often. I don't even know what that is.
That's the backfire.
It's the backfire. What a beauty!
2015 card right there.
Trash thought it was necessary to pull up the backfire, and I don't blame him. I mean, he did look a lot better at the end of that game. I think maybe just a card change will, be good for the mental. Just keep it and mixing it up. I don't hate that strategy.
I mean, at the end of the day, if it works, it works, right? I mean, they win this game, maybe he'll stay in it, but Wolf looks through the redirect. That's on target, and now Mogi. Oh, the feels backflip. that one's gonna hurt because he had the read. I mean, he had the read to stop this shot from Wolf. It was a good shot, but Mogi backflips, doesn't make contact. 1-0.
I mean, just good on Wolf for just throwing it on net because, I mean, but even with one of the best players in the league, even with the season MVP or season 9 MVP, you know, he's going to make mistakes like that. So why not just throw a really fast-paced shot on net, and sometimes it'll work out. I mean, and I've really been loving what I've been seeing from Wolf. Honestly, all these games, even though he has not been on top, I think he's been, you know, for me personally, this series one of the more standout players. Now he's converting into a goal. They have believe this is their first lead of the series, so maybe they'll turn this into some momentum, and they got to take this game by game. That's a wonderful save again by Wolf, and another block. He's just going through everybody. But 40 shuts him down, leads it to Trash in the backfire. Here we go, trying to get an air dribble, just fizzles out. But Wolf is here in the corner again, trying to find Pink. Pink off the backboard, almost gets a double. Mogi can't quite get in front of that, but it does go high. Mogi now just going to keep it close, maybe play for a 50. Pink gets past him, but Views is met in the corner. Views just trying to clear the ball, give them some space to go get some boost. Senators trying to keep the pressure. Trash might be there, just not quite. Wolf trying to find the angle. That's a hard shot, but nobody was there for the follow-up, and we're back on just the constant pressure, but on the other side of the field.
And that's zero boost. I mean, that's Burnsville all across the board. I like what St. Paul did there for a second. I mean, they had somewhat of an open chance, but their third man decides not to commit, and as a result, they don't get scored on the counterattack. Now, this shot here, Mogi, you saw him run in front of that shot. Doesn't get the bump, looked for it, though. And that could have probably been easily a goal if Wolf got bumped, but a good save from him as a minute to go. Flip middle, as Pink will win back-to-back challenges. A big play from St. Paul here on the turnaround. As View's going to run out here with only 5 boost. As Josh will leave it for Pink off the backboard. They're going to use that. And this is good play from the Senators, holding the midfield line. They're up 1. Not a ton of insane plays they need to make here. As Trash off the ceiling, looks for the infield pass, can't get it to go. As double from Mogi will put pressure a little bit on Wolf, but he's full boost. He should have this out, but the fake does come out. Pink will block that. This got hairy for a little second. I thought Wolf would make a little bit of a cleaner play than he did, but I mean, hey, if it works, it works at this point. You're down 2-0, you're looking for anything.
Yeah, and I just... Trash almost with a double. Just barely blocked out. Gets demoed on the side wall. Views trying for the dunk. Mogi's going to be there to meet. Not the perfect touch, but wow, Mogi somehow follows it up and gets a great dunk. And I really like that play from Pink. Instead of opting to try to keep pressure, keep pushing it forward, he realizes he's the third man and just plays it safe. But here comes Mogi with an insane play, not quite. And that's the one thing that I feel like this team is super lacking. They're just getting tackled. But just the person deciding to play a little bit safer. It's just such a smart play to buy your team time. And I feel like they've been caught lacking so many times with their third man being out of position, leads to them all being on 0 boost and just in an impossible to defend position. But it seems like that might be changing.
This is much better from St. Paul. And one thing though is it is week 1, so we had a quick turnaround from draft. These teams maybe have not played with each other. As Pink's gonna turn that one in midfield. Wolf made the challenge win, finds the 50, and wins that to Pink, and Pink slots it home. 6 seconds to go, and it's looking like St. Paul's going to take a game, and we will not have a sweep. But the thing is...
be careful.
They played this game much more structurally, and much better in general when it comes to how they're focusing on things. But this game was much better overall, and as a result, it's a win for them.
It was just so calculated. It felt like this one, they just slowed it down a lot more. I feel like recognized where they were on the field, where their team was, and maybe Pink being a rookie maybe had some nerves. Maybe. I doubt Wolf and Trash have nerves, being veterans. But I don't know. just getting into the series, and 1-2 is a lot more doable than 0-2. So let's see if they can keep this hot streak going.
No, for sure. And it'll be interesting to see what we get out of this Senators side, going into this game number 4, because they did get one Zoms, and now they're back into it. They cut the lead in half, but yeah, I mean, we'll see what ends up happening here as Burnsville won the first 2 games, did pretty well, but here they're kept off the scoreboard, which you don't, I mean, with a team like Mogi, you don't see very often.
Yeah, that's shutting out Mogi. I mean, they might put that on their fridge. Maybe not, but you never know.
A little magnet on the fridge. I shut out Mogi in game 3 of my series against him in season 10. That's what's going on my fridge.
Mogi,
yeah,
and then having one of those games.
I don't know if we want to jinx them that hard, but game 4 on the horizon. We're about to play it. Hop in to a little bit of shenanigans, as Views will get beat by Trash in the backfire still. I mean, hey, if you're winning with it, you might as well stick to it. As Views, no boost to work with here. Wolf will go missing. Mogi's just, it's like he's in a free play and just looking at different angles. Okay, how can I double tap this and possibly score it? That's what he's doing here at this point. Is that will go midfield. No boost for St. Paul to work with, really, as 40 was running interference. Pink does miss that backboard read, and nobody behind him was expecting it. 40 makes it 1-0 Burnsville.
It's just funny that, Mogi had, that one corner double, and then immediately after he had another attempt, he said, I'm hitting it this time. This time, it also went a little wide, but it ends up just being a perfect pass, and that's one goal. And Mogi not being shut down early like we saw in previous games. If Mogi's given that space, he's gonna take it. That's one touch. Trash able to take care of that, but it's maybe a pass out to 40. Just puts it a little wide, but once again, the suffocating pressure, that might help. Trash just booms it down the field, picks up the mid boost. Pink is doing his duty on Views, just bumping him out, and they're trying to just keep this offense. This is an important play, but Views finds it out and just immediately breaks out of that pressure. Oh, but Mogi goes missing. Maybe an opportunity for Trash, but he has no teammates to pass to. Trying to find Pink, but he's getting bumped up by Mogi. Mogi tries for a fake. Wolf does not buy it. Wolf goes missing on the dunk. Pink over to Trash. Trash just pops it high. It's a hard spot to shoot it. 40 just trying to pass it down to Mogi. This is a really hard double, but of course Mogi makes contact, but Pink is actually there to meet him. 40 popping it high. Trash goes missing and Views. That's not a ball you can miss because Views will slam it in for a 2-0 lead.
3.5 still left. I mean, plenty of time for St. Paul to get going, but yeah, you can't be missing backboard reads. I mean, it is tough because it's way up there and it's a good touch because it's a beat on the wall, on the sidewall, but can't be missing backboard reads against teams that have this much talent on them. But let's see what ends up happening here. Trash goes missing as Wolf will pop touch, but can't really do much. Look to play off the backboard. Off the backboard again was Pink, but nobody there again from St. Paul to clean this up. I'd like to see a little bit more midfield play from them. As Trash will maybe find Wolf. He does go missing. Pink commits his third man and kind of throwing your hand all in here as 40 kind of gives away the ball. Trash will put that bar down. Mogi somehow finds a touch. Wolf's follow-up is blocked by 40, and Burnsville somehow going to get out of that. All 3 players from St. Paul in that corner, as they won't be able to get through. Wolf's shot is off target, and a little bit of a chance for St. Paul to maybe get one back, but they aren't able to do it, as some of these touches from St. Paul just seem to be, not moving forward, not in an advancement sort of play. It's been sideways. Views going missing. Everybody's, asleep here on this Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, this is like a normal time for Rocket League players to be, nice in bed and maybe waking up about now, but playing Rocket League, I mean, come on. I mean, that's
we don't do that before 3:30.
Yeah, come on, that's ridiculous.
We don't do that before 4 p.m. Not a chance.
Yeah, come on. What do you think we are? And that's just going to go in. I didn't even catch what happened. Views just caught them lacking, found the top right of the net. Maybe pushed up a little bit, just right out of defense. Third man pushed up a little too much and going to be in the net. 3-0. It's looking dire. Senators need to pick it up right now. It's the kickoff to maybe get it started. Wolf maybe trying to keep possession. Got full boost. What can he do? He gets bumped off immediately, and Mogi's not going to make that mistake. Pink trying to find a center ball, but 40's there to boom it down. Trash trying to keep it close. That's about 30 boost here. Gets 50'd by Mogi. It's a decent 50, but Mogi somehow finds his way through Pink as well. That's a nice shot on target, but Wolf staying stoic. Pink, no boost. This is something we saw earlier. Centers with no boost, struggling to get out, but Wolf carrying it down the whole field, giving his team time to get boost. But here we are back on offense. That's kind of a loose ball. Wolf maybe passing up to Pink. Pink off the ceiling. Does 40 have the read? He does. Is he going to be there for the follow-up? Wolf off the backboard. It's a tough read. The shot is just quite wide. Fuse, no boost, able to just escort that to the corner. 40 as well, no boost. Mogi snipes that 100 in the corner and starting an air dribble from the reverse. Views is a lost cause waiting for this boost that Mogi just took.
He's just camping on it.
And his teammate tries bumping him off for it again.
He's just camping on it. He's just waiting for it. It's like, it's going to show up eventually. Eventually, right? It's going to show up as the ball goes by him and into its corner. His teammate has the read anyway, but 40 seconds left, and it has been tough sledding for the Senators so far. It just seems like they're trying to play too complicated for what's going on. Mogi towards net, saved by Trash. The clear comes out, but 40 has that read, and it's been a somewhat of a nervous series for St. Paul. They don't look cohesive, and it is week 1 of the season. We don't expect them to be the best players in the world, especially with each other. Considering this is a team that's never been constructed before, has never played in a competitive setting like this together. I mean, obviously they've been on separate teams, but we'll see what ends up happening. Because hey, the team that won Premier last season started the season with not the best record. I'm pretty sure it was 1-2, 1-3, something like that. But fortunately, the Senators will start 0-1, and Burnsville will be 1-0, as that'll go off the corner. Maybe Wolf can't even get that one to go in, as it'll be a 3-1 victory for the Inferno, and they're going to win this series in 4. And wasn't the cleanest of games. That last one was probably the cleanest game we've had, Zoms, but I will say it could have been a cleaner series for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We're just getting started. This is game 1, so chin up, Senators.
Definitely chin up. It is week 1, like you just said.
Week 1, you're playing against Mogi and 40, so maybe there's some pressure going against them as well. I would not take this game. As for everything as it was. I mean, 3-1 usually isn't the pretty stat line, but I mean, we did see some close games. I mean, this one kind of got out of control. But I mean, we saw in that third game, Senators fight back and get the win. So we know that it's there. We know that they can do it. It's just the ability to reproduce that. And I think, I would not be surprised to see Senators go 1-1 today.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
got to take a look at, who are playing here next.
Next we have
not on the slate. I know who's playing next. Okay. I gotta see who those teams are playing next.
St. Paul,
Burnsville. St. Paul is third on stream. They played Des Moines. Okay, so it's another chance for them. And Burnsville plays Bemidji. So yeah, I think that Burnsville Bemidji series will be good, but that's later on not till 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I mean, it was just an interesting series for sure. But we'll see what ends up happening as, that last series was, competitive as ever, I will say, but, just one that I think, this St. Paul team is going to look back on and wish they played just a little bit better. But, at the same time, this is a returning team, basically 2/3 of a returning team that played pretty darn well at the end of last season. And, they're doing their best as far as, returning to that form that they finished at the end of the season. But Zoms, it was a good first series. We definitely got treated, and we're, for once, I can say that we're on time. We're more than on time, actually. So, I mean, how about it? But St. Paul will play their next series on stream against the derecho, and that'll be at 4:30, but not for an hour. They got a little bit of time to digress, whatever you want to say, to digest things. But Buffalo Miracles coming up next, like you were talking about. And man, am I excited for this for this season, just for this week and just for these games. It's gonna be lots of fun for sure. But yeah, Zoms, I think it'll be interesting to see what we get out of the next series, because it's teams that have, one team that has played with each other and one team that has not played with each other. And the one team that has not played with each other is going to be a kind of a coming out party for the one of them. But the other one has a pretty darn good storied history for sure. But
yeah, it's going to be a fun one. We'll talk a little bit more about the rosters and everything. I have the rosters pulled up. I guess we could go over it. I mean, we have Fuego, Johnny Long, Gatman, which is just,
it's a good team.
Terrifying. Mm-hmm. That's terrifying. Honestly, I've seen a lot of these players. I mean, Johnny Law, we saw last year at LAN. I mean, wasn't he the finalist, top 2?
Yeah.
Just
with
such a beast on the field.
With Mankato or Winnipeg, whatever you want to say. But,
yeah.
We gotta throw it to a break here. So we're gonna throw it to a quick break. Unfortunately, we have to throw it to a quick break. But coming up next, it's gonna be a blast. We've got a good one for you. The Miracles, and that is not centered. Oh boy, cringe. Miracles in Buffalo. Miracles in Buffalo. After the break. Guys, please don't go anywhere. That's coming up next.
We're back, MCS fans. We are here with another game for Premier. You know, now I'm joined by Bubbly Reaper. Had to replace Stewie. Don't know what happened.
He had to go he had to go produce. You know, it's hard work behind the scenes. Even if you're not on camera, there's all the transitions and setting up the OBS and everything. But you know, we're working hard. We're here with the second series. We got the Omaha Buffalo against the Minneapolis Miracles. And, you know, this is what I'm excited for, because we got a little bit of history with Johnny Law and Fuego on the Miracles, beating me in Season 5, and now 5 seasons later, we're in Season 10, and they're still finding a way to team together again. And Omaha, Buffalo, the other side, there's a bunch of new people that I'm not quite sure how much I know about them. Do you know anything more about them that I don't?
All I know is Buffalo will be having Rob sub up today. So, you know, this is not technically their full roster. So the first game of the season on stream, they are having a sub. And against an absolute power roster of Fuego, Gatman, Johnny Law. I mean, I'm not going to lie, that team is looking dangerous. I know I said this about the last series, but there are just so many scary teams, and I think that's just another one of them. I'll be shocked to see someone go up against that team and, you know, not at least have a game 5, because Fuego, Gatman, Johnny, I mean, that's just a crazy team. But Notice and Fluffy, I don't know too much about Notice and Fluffy. I know I saw them, I think, a little bit at combines here and there. Rob is a really cool guy, so, you know, they got at least good vibes on the team. You know, that's what I know. That's what I know.
It's always nice to have the cool guy buff.
Yeah.
I don't notice was like a little bit of a like harder carry of a first round pick last season, and Fuego being like the 6th overall pick in the draft. I think maybe not as high as some people would have expected him, but you know, just that chemistry that they have already. And plus, I don't want to leave out Gatman on the Miracles either, winning Challenger last season. He was putting in work with his team, and I think him and Tox both got drafted pretty high in Premier this season. So, looking mostly at Fluffy and Rob on the Buffalo to see like what they can bring. I didn't hear what Stewie just said in the prediction. Oh yeah, we gotta do that. See, okay, you go first. I need to make sure mine is opposite of yours.
Oh, I'm definitely going with Minneapolis here. Okay, I shouldn't say definitely. I don't think this is going to be a sweep. I don't think we're going to see any sweeps today. Knock on wood. Okay, my camera almost just fell over. Okay, no, but yeah, Minneapolis, you know, they just have such a solid roster. You know, Johnny Law, you know, he's just been so dominant for so long. I have to, you know, it's the bread and butter. I'm sticking with it.
And, well, I guess, see, I think it's going to be a close series, so I'm going to go with the opposite pick. Gotta go with the Omaha Buffalo. I think Notice has got what it takes, and I know Fluffy was in a few combines, and I was like, whoa, who's this new guy coming in? Maybe he's like a 2nd round pick. They got him in the 3rd round. Rob was also one of my like potential, oh, maybe I should pick him 3rd round, and then someone told me, hey, he's a GM, you can't do that. So, you know, Rob I think was pretty fun to play with. I think they got the vibes buff, like you said. I think that might put him over the edge where maybe they're still, Fuego and Ambrosia might have a little ego of like, you know, we're the duo, we got this. And I think Omaha comes in to surprise them.
It's also week 1. Anything can happen in week 1, you know? A couple of new I mean, especially with rookies, like you said, Fluffy, I think will maybe make a big impact here, and I wish we'll find out. We have all the players in the lobby. We're gonna send it like Stu says in the quick chat, and we're gonna get going here on this game 1 of this Omaha versus Minneapolis series. Let's just get right into things. I think I'll be looking for passing plays. I'm looking for high octane aggression. Maybe some crazy presets, but the first kickoff, nothing too crazy's happening. Johnny just trying to control the ball, maybe find the center of the field. Fuego's there waiting. Fuego maybe just a little pogo. Finds Rob on the sidewall. Notice just trying to find a bump. Fluffy gets met in midfield. Fuego just gonna try running it down to the corner here. Maybe 50s it out to a teammate. Gatman passing it back up. Johnny's just playing a solid third man here. Flips out to get the boost. No one to really pressure, but finds Gatman in the middle, maybe firing one off towards net, easily saved away to the corner. And, we're already starting off with lots of passes. I got what I asked for.
Minneapolis trying to take advantage of that early season, coming in with some chemistry. And you see Omaha trying to go for this more solo play attack, but Minneapolis doing well not to overcommit too many. They always have 1 or 2 back on these attacks. Johnny Law finally caught out, but again, Gatman back there to cut it off. Counter almost finds its way into the net as Minneapolis trying to stay on this offense, keeping that deep third man cleared up field. Gatman off the corner, trying to find another pass to Fuego lurking up there. Can't quite make its way in. Is now maybe a pass middle, cut out quickly by Ambrosia. Omaha trying to find their way through this Minneapolis defense, but nothing working out for them so far.
But just barely goes wide. It's Rob. I was almost finding the back of the net, but just could not quite get the angle. Johnny maybe trying to pass it off the backboard, but he gets shut down. It's into the corner. Gatman just a huge fake. He has no boost, so he can't pressure this quickly. Does well anyways. We're seeing low boost on both sides of the field here. A big bump on maybe Rob, but gets boomed out to Fuego, maybe trying to sidewall. Fluffy's just sitting under the ball, waiting for the miss. Just gives one past Johnny Law into Rob. Rob just sends one on net, easily blocked by Fuego. But Fuego, no boost, trying to just get something while his teammate pressures the ball. Fuego just trying to keep composure here. Gatman sends it wide. Maybe Johnny Law's there to meet him. And it's just a more continued pressure. Lots of pressure already in this first game on both sides of the field. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
And I like you calling out the boost also. You're seeing, finally breaking out of the defense. There's no teammates to support on the side of the Omaha because they're all running back to find their own corner boost, leaving the play entirely. It's leaving Minneapolis to get some more pressure like this, just hitting it off the post to each other, while Omaha's scrambling back on defense.
Yeah, and this one, Notice got caught lacking on the sidewall. Just hits around him, and Fluffy's not in a good enough position. Maybe looking for some extra pads, and that's going to cost you. And it's a goal. One goal, it took half the game, The last series we just played, we thought we saw a bunch of early goals. This one's been a little bit more composed. Settling into this one a little bit slower, but, a goal's a goal, and it leads a lead. Fluffy trying to find that one back, just throws it into the corner, and it's met by two players, now three. Gatman shutting it down, trying to just get it over Notice. Notice is okay with just taking his time here and throwing it in his corner. They don't need to rush this attack. They have 2 minutes to work with, but they have to get going. They have to find something that will work. Nothing's worked yet. Gatman, getting dunked. Gatman's just trying to find any touch, but Notice reads that he's going to miss. Sends it to the backboard. Fuego barely there to meet him, but it's Rob with a center ball. Johnny with no boost also gets bumped. They have no boost. 0 boost across the board. They got to get a goal here. Gatman finally gets 100 and is able to meet him in the ceiling. It's a goal! Notice! Finally! They drained them of their boost for so long, and they were finally rewarded for it. Gatman, the only player on this team with boost, did not get a great touch, and Notice is there to meet him. Throws it in the goal. That's the equalizer. 1-1.
And I don't think I even saw the demo, but Johnny Law spawning in that corner underneath the ball. That's a tough situation for Fuego to run into. Do I jump right away? Do I just leave it? And both of them ended up leaving it. A great solo play from Johnny Law. Almost finds its way bar down, but defense coming out for Omaha to keep that one out. can't find their way out of their half yet, but Johnny Law can't get it through that corner. Finally, the ball goes middle, low boost from the entire Buffalo side, but everyone on Minneapolis retreating all the way back to their net, trying to restart the attack full field, but Rob able to keep this one in, trying to read it and get it middle, but can't quite make that read. Now, Gatman trying to take it down that sidewall. Johnny Law, that chemistry, getting that back pass to his own back wall, that redirect upfield from Gatman, but 2 on Omaha, sitting back. Omaha almost looking content to go into overtime as they're all playing defense for this last 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's just been so much pressure, honestly, on both sides of the field, but I am looking at Buffalo and thinking they gotta just find a way to break out more efficiently. It seems like the times that they're breaking out, they have very little boost. There's a time, maybe, notice that's full boost trying to find an attack, and this is a good attack. Buffalo want to convert here. They have so much boost. There's a lot of pressure, but it just kind of fizzles out immediately, and now maybe a big demo from Rob on Gatman. Johnny able to find the double off the sidewall, and it just bounced off the ceiling into the ground. We have overtime in game 1. This might be a long series.
It might be. Both these teams, it's week 1. You're still feeling each other out, especially game 1. Don't want to overcommit too much and give up easy goals. You want to make them earn their goals while they're still trying to figure out their own play styles. But so far, I've liked how Minneapolis has played better. They've done a better job keeping the ball in the Omaha half, and I think they're going for these passing plays high in the air and leaving Omaha jumping when they maybe don't want to. But again, you got a counterattack opportunity from Rob. He's just launching it on net with Minneapolis waiting back to collect it. Fluffy trying to make something happen going off the corner, but cut out again by Gatman. 1v1 with Notice, a good shot, top shelf, and Notice just was not prepared for the shot to be placed that well.
And it's just, Notice did about all he could. He's playing on his goal line, and it's just when a ball's coming 109 kph to the top of your net, there's sometimes not much you can do about that. Someone maybe need to pressure the ball for him, but, being last back for a while, mind you, and he finally got some boost, he's just not in a good enough position to be able to contest that, and it's just flying in his net. Gatman's putting in an insane shot almost every time, and we have a 1-0 lead from the Miracles. Buffalo looking good this game, but not enough to take the game.
I feel like we haven't seen all that we're going to see from the Buffalo yet. I feel like Miracles, we had some passing, we had some good attacks where they just kept the pressure as long as they could. Even that last goal, we saw a counterattack off an overcommit from Buffalo. It felt like Buffalo's still trying to find their stride. They're still testing the waters. We're not trying to overcommit too much and get scored on in overtime like that last goal, but I'd like to see them try and find some passing plays, do a little bit more with some of their solo plays too, that aren't just going to the corner or off the sidewall.
Yeah, and then I really liked what I was seeing from Buffalo. They were trying to get those well-timed demos, and that's how they got their first goal. Well-timed demo, and they put the shot underneath the goalie. But I want to see more. I want to see more. I honestly, it's looking really good. I was kind of maybe doubting the team a little bit because they're subbing up with Rob, but it seems like I didn't give him enough credit because honestly, he's looking great out there. He's the one even sometimes leading the charge for his team, and it's a very big kickoff, but Rob is the one to shut it down immediately again. That was a dangerous position, but Rob, fearless, also charging into this attack, just gets a great 50 on Fuego, but 2 teammates in the corner, maybe getting caught out, but it's not going to be dangerous enough, but Fluffy almost gets dunked. Rob is there to save the day, maybe to convert. It's going to be a tough double. Pushed into the corners, takes the boost, and maybe tries to get into the center for a teammate. Fluffy there to challenge, gets it off Gatman. Oh, what a fake challenge. Notice is trying to find a teammate. Doesn't quite actually, it's going to be in his net. He might have passed the wrong player, the wrong team.
That's tough. You just low boost. There's so much momentum behind the ball, but you can't go up the sidewall. Defender just reads that one perfectly, and it's a great dunk middle. Leads to an open net with both of Notice's teammates ahead of the ball in front of the play, even though Notice is on low boost. Maybe getting a little antsy for this get-back game, trying to find a win. Miracles.
Yes, just
go ahead.
Already so much more pressure from this game, and it looks like You know, we had some maybe defensive problems from Miracle's last game, but it already looks like that's being tightened up a lot more, and they're just not succumbing to the pressure as much anymore.
No. Johnny Law catching it on the sidewall. Love these mechanics. It's a reset, but beats Catman. Not used to playing with each other quite yet, but all the way back on defense already. Cuts off that counterattack from Rob. Notice shot chance gone awry. Doesn't quite make contact, but Omaha still able to keep pressure, keep the ball in their half. Miracle's going for another back pass. I'm loving these back passes to their own back wall, their own corner. That's where the boost is. That's where they're going to collect it. Trying to keep the possession more than keep the pressure. But Omaha trying to get a counter going. Rob just beat out to the ball. Fluffy. 50 goes back to his own corner. Can Gatman make something happen? Pass middle. No one challenging Fuego, but Fuego just backing away from that ball. I feel like could have popped that middle for Ambrosia. Now Omaha with a chance, a tough read for Fuego, but that first round pick, he's making that to the corner. Omaha still struggling to find an offensive plan of attack that's able to get past his Miracles. Another dunk comes to their backboard, and I don't know what Omaha has to do differently. Is it that demos that you were talking about?
It might be. They're just not finding a way through right now. It just seems like every single time the Buffalo is trying to walk the ball down the field, there's a Miracles player there to meet them. It feels like every single time they try something, there's always someone there to meet them, and maybe just taking them out of the equation might help a little. But, you know, Rob trying to prove us wrong. He gets a big 50 maybe to the corner, but there's a Scatman there to take the ball away, and it's almost going to be open, but Notice just barely able to take that into the corner and just take his time. But there's not much time to give. Rob staying composed on the goal line. 50's right through, and Fluffy's not ready to react. No boost. And Johnny will happily 50 that right to the goal and double up the lead. 2 minutes left. 2 goals.
I mean, you were saying staying composed. He did good not to rush it immediately, but then just the way he took that 50, he's like jumping basically over the ball. Johnny Law just has to hit it anywhere, and it's going straight in, but kickoff's going good for the Buffalo so far, but Fuego able to collect, flicks it up to Johnny Law, beats the last defender, off the corner, beats another. Now 2 up from Minneapolis. Catman commits his third man. This is a 2v1 opportunity. Flip reset from Rob. Demo from Notice. There you go. Finally, they get that bump play they're looking for in the numbers play.
And they were just up a player here. 1v2, great recognition, and they just immediately convert. They need to be scoring those, and they do. They get the goal back. Now they cut the lead in half. Now it's only 1-2. Much more doable. I think anytime they get these 1v2s, and they need to be converting because they're not getting many. But we'll see. Fluffy just passing it out, maybe to Notice. Notice trying to just get the pace of the game going. Fuego pre-jumping Gatman, almost finding the net. Fluffy, a heroic save. Gatman's trying to maybe pinch it mid, but it's Fluffy again to meet him. Johnny off the backboard. Notice is getting bumped, but still makes a great touch to Rob in the corner. Trying to catch it. Looks like Johnny cutting it down, bringing it to the wall, trying to get mechanical. Gatman diving into the corner, but Rob is just there to shut it down immediately. Fuego is in the midfield, maybe looking for a double. Fluffy. No contact was made. Fuego, maybe a little bit of communication between Gatman and Fuego. Didn't know quite who was going to lead the ball and who was going to shoot it, and they just end up bumping each other, and it didn't really end up doing anything. Gatman trying to get mechanical again. Shut down by Fluffy. Fluffy is met by Fuego. And it's just a back and forth battle in the midfield. Maybe Notice has a chance here finally, but it's just back and forth.
Omaha trying to find something crazy, but Fuego with 0 boost making that read off the back wall. You see Minneapolis had a chance there for a 2v1 play, but opted to slow it down and take a 50 instead. Now gives Omaha a chance on a counterattack. 2 waiting back from Minneapolis. Ball gets flicked up and Gatman cuts it out, but maybe a pass middle. Notice just retreating back, not ready for that pass from Fluffy. Now, ball is up in the air, but it's rolling in the corner. Rob with no boost, gonna have to give this one away. Can Fluffy make something happen? can't quite find that touch. It looked like he was aiming for the back wall with how he was coming at it, but ends up hitting it into the ground. We got Minneapolis Miracles up 2-0 in this series.
They're looking good, but Buffalo, once again, it felt like a repeat of last game where they didn't quite have anything going in the first half of the game, and they found themselves and they found a goal, but man, it just was, some of these plays were just fizzling out into nothing. It looks like Fluffy might have just gotten their third. They said our third is home, booting up PC. Looks like Rob is going to be getting subbed out for their, well, not subbed out, but replaced by the main roster member. Honestly, Rob was playing great here. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked how Rob was playing, you know. He's coming in with a little less experience, maybe a little nervous, so there were still a couple giveaways, but he was still solid overall. It was just, I think, that one low 50 on the goal line that he jumped too high. That was a big difference maker. And hopefully that Omaha Buffalo with their full rosters scrim together a little bit more, practice together a little more. We'll have to see if that makes a difference. Obviously, it's super tough coming into a series down 0-2, having to win 3 in a row, especially against a Miracles team that looks so solid. That is just playing to not make any mistakes right now, I think.
Yeah, non-possible. They got to take it game by game. You know, maybe they'll just shake these off, say, you know, we're getting our full roster now, and maybe they'll just try using that to, you know, reset the mental, and you know, they have nothing to lose now, you know. So I think at this point they just got to take it game by game. I mean, there's no other way to do it, you know. You got to win 3 in a row now, and you know, going into this, I think you know, it's not going to be easy, but I'm curious to see what new element is going to come to us with their full roster.
I know we talked about at the start of the series that the Omaha might be this vibes team. But, you know, we were seeing the pre-jumps from the Miracles too in that game number 2. Almost had a couple crazy plays. I thought they might be a vibes team, but looking at that cam at Fuego, he looks so locked in, so ready to just, yeah, taking care of business, winning game number 3 here. And I'm curious if that's going to affect anything, if they're just going to come and do what they got to do no matter who they're playing against.
It was that Fuego. He just looked stone cold Steve Hawk. Like he didn't, you know, he just looks like he's ready to get going. You know, it's just another day in the office for him. Which, you know, being that, you know, one of the veterans on this field, I'm not surprised to see it. You know, he's got lots of experience. You know, he's just super solid. You know, from what we've been seeing from him, you know, just really just it's been a really, although it's 2-0 in the series, it's been a tight series. So keeping that composure, you know, it's just impressive. It's just impressive.
Yeah.
Is this their first game of the season?
This is the first game of the season for both these teams, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a good start, good showing for Minneapolis Miracles. But that one bump demo play that the Buffalo had, I think, is their one saving grace. That it was the first 2v1 that they had all series, and they just converted it instantly. That I think that's the confidence they need, that maybe if we just play solid, play more like Minneapolis's, because both of those games were pretty low scoring. There weren't many opportunities that just like happened out of nowhere that we were like, what? Where did that come from? It was more just solid Rocket League, taking advantage of mistakes. So I think Omaha, they just got to take advantage, get some more mistakes. But looking at the Season 10 schedule here, it's been a while since I looked at this. What am I looking at, Zoms?
It is, you know, I am curious to see what maybe changes will be made. You know, looking at that first trade window, I think it's going to be opened up tomorrow, which is insane. Midnight tonight, from what I've heard. Midnight tonight, which, by the way, my just add is insane. That is the earliest trade window we've ever had. Going into that major one, what are your thoughts on that?
It's crazy that it feels like it's so early. We just had the draft a week ago. You already have a trade window. I feel like some teams have been scrimming like 4 or 5 times already in the past week. And there are other teams that maybe this is their first time playing together. I don't know anything about either of these teams. I'd assume Minneapolis has been playing, but if Omaha, you haven't played, you play one series and you lose it, maybe you're Rob and you're already looking at a roster change if something's available.
Yeah, that is, and it's coming up right all the way up to Major 1, which I also think is quite interesting that Major 1 is after, 1 month, and we'll already be in Major 1. Sure, that's going to be, each one of these weeks are a doubleheader, so we'll have 6 games to figure things out before the first major. But that Major 1, that's a lot of points to be had, and you have these 3 weeks to figure out a team, and if you do a change in that time, that's even less time to get ready for that Major 1. And then immediately after that Major 1, there's another trade window. So I think this season, I will not be surprised to see a lot of teams mixing it up. If it doesn't work in these first weeks, if it doesn't work in Major 1, they might mix it up. And then all the way up to week 6, you can mix it up. So I'm really interested just to see how many teams, stick it out, are willing to keep fighting. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Major 1 being? Is this early? I feel like this is early. This is only my second season, so maybe I sound a little dumb here.
I think last season was when we first started focusing a little harder on the majors, and obviously, I don't know if we have points graphics, Stewie, so sorry if we don't, but I think Major 2 had a ton of points last season, and Major 1 was a little less, so I think it's still more than league play match wins. It's a big boost for you, so you're still working towards getting those points from that major in the season, where maybe a trade is the right move week 1. But I really think those teams that stick it out, like, even if we're losing, even if we don't have such a great Major 1, that's where you see them come in Major 2 and be like, now we've got our stride together, we'll figure it out. And all these other teams that have made roster changes that now have to rebuild that chemistry in such a short time, those are the teams I think that struggle in Major 2 going into LAN as like a last-ditch effort kind of thing. So I really think that both the teams we're seeing play right now are teams that I could see sticking together. You see this whole time in chat, they're waiting for Likewise to join up. They're having fun, having a good conversation. So it seems like the vibes for both these teams, just vibes check, they pass. But we'll have to see if chemistry-wise, if the GMs want to make a change. Because I've never been a GM before, but I feel like I would value that team environment over just how much they're winning.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure on the trade window rules. I've heard that some people, you only get one trade or you only get one drop. So if you make that drop, week 1, you're kind of stuck with that for the rest of the season, as far as I know. I could be wrong. So
sounds right.
If you do it, literally tomorrow, and you end up with a player that you don't vibe with, or just doesn't fit that role you wanted on that team, you could just be stuck with that for the whole season. And sure, you can still trade, but it's just it's a risky move doing it early. I think there's going to be a couple teams that do, but with how much time left we have in the season, with all the points that are up for grab in Major 1, I think finding a team that you can vibe with early and start the scrims and just really get rolling on early, like the earlier the better. It's just a risk, it's a big risk, and I think that's exciting. Now we have, other than the what it's looking like for the season, the trade windows and stuff like that. Let's look at instead of long term, let's look at what's happening today. Other than this match, after this we have the Derecho Senators. Oh, it looks like we finally got the players in the lobby. Sorry, I'll cut that short. Let's just focus on the match we have right now, the Buffalo, the Miracles. It looks like Rob is just going in. Likewise, seems like his PC could not get going. That's quite unfortunate. And Rob will be just finishing out the series for us. Sorry for icing, everybody.
Maybe it was tactical.
Yeah, maybe
tactical from the Buffalo.
Tactical ice.
So you see, already they're coming out hot. Notice air dribble counterattack chance, but we'll see how Miracles handle that. Setting their controllers down for a while. Figuring it out. Fuego shoots it. It's both posts and comes out though. not bothered at all by the break. Like we said, he looked so stoic. He's been waiting for this just to finish it out, but Omaha still trying to make something happen. Seems like they're playing a little further back, which I like to see just based off the start of the game. See if it works out as Rob trying to get this one middle, but not able to get it in front of net. Fluffy's going to keep it in, but Rob trying to crash in at that near post. Rob seems to be the one who's pushing forward, first man trying to make something happen. Notice and Fluffy both with the follow-ups is forcing Fuego and Johnny Law committing with 0 boosts. So Rob beats the third. Can he find the net? Pops it over the crossbar. Felt like that was finally the chance. He broke it down, and now Minneapolis, the counterattack. But Rob able to be the first one back. Fluffy with a good shot. Fuego no boost, tips it high. And Minneapolis scrambling a little bit on their defensive end so far.
You just hate to see that. Rob did all the work, got past both the defenders, and just had the open net and just put it high. His teammate couldn't receive it. But yeah, Rob has been the one, taking that step forward, marching into their side, and really pushing the offense, which is, that's surprising to see. I really like to see that, though. And that's a lot different than what we were seeing in the previous game. He was the one maybe making the plays, but now, maybe in the time that they had off, he got to think about it a little bit more, and they got to strategize, and maybe they came up with a more sound strategy. And it looks like here Rob goes again, taking the charge down the field. This time gets cut up by Johnny Law, who gets a couple resets. Why not? And doesn't really lead anywhere. Fluffy trying to get the attack. Rob maybe with a redirect, but Fuego stays composed and shuts it down. Notice into the corner, full boost, just gets a big clear out. Johnny's there to meet him. To Gatman, maybe back to Johnny. Puts it into the net almost. Fuego's there to finish it up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't know who's passing anymore. It's in the net.
A great pass from Johnny Law to Gatman on the sidewall. That pass back middle from Gatman. I think Fuego and Johnny Law both expecting it to be a little harder. Everybody on Omaha bites though, and it seemed like 5 people commit. All Johnny Law had to do, hit it off that backboard, and finally see a break in composure from Omaha. Gonna need to see a good 1v1 from Notice. Great play. Block that air dribble bump before it could get started. Now, awkward clears coming out from Omaha. Counterattack chance. Johnny Law. You see him in the air. Of course, he's putting it in that open net.
And we're just right back to where we were in the first 2 games. Just Johnny Law and his whole team just with full boost on the attack. And it's just no one's up quick enough to get a block. And, I feel like we were here at a previous time, up 2 goals with 2 minutes left. And we're right back here. Johnny getting a flip reset, maybe? Not quite. Fuego just trying to delay the attack. Just gets a light touch into the corner. Fluffy is met with a demo. Tries crossing too far. And Fuego are just, this team's just honestly playing with their food. They missed the net, but, even though they missed the goal, they still just have all the pressure. Maybe they have a chance here. Notice trying to find the backboard. Maybe the back of the net. Johnny, last back, and Gatman just has the open net down the field. No one's home. That's a 3-0 lead.
And I think that's the difference. You see, from Miracles, you saw 3-person passing play, you just miss. It's fine. We're all on the same page. We're all going to go back. Omaha, they all commit. You go for one shot, doesn't work. You go for an immediate shot again. And then all of a sudden, one ball flies out, and they're just not on the same page on what's happening. An open net for Gatman, even though he has 0 boosts. Now, Omaha are going to have to score 3 goals, but they're still getting pressure put on them from Minneapolis. They are not letting up at all, despite being up 3. Trying to find something, but Gatman mid to Johnny Law takes it high, gets a reset. Good 50 from Fluffy, though. Gatman beats one around the corner. Can't quite find another, just ran out of boost there, but good fake. Gatman pops that ball middle, but Rob immediately takes that shot. Had so much more time than I think he knew. And gonna send Omaha all the way back to their end. 1 minute left. Great pass middle from Notice. Cut out again by Gatman. Getting stuck in their own half. Omaha trying to clear it around the corner. Going for a pinch in the air, potentially. But still, Johnny Law, 0 boost. Even when they're on these low boost situations, they're still getting back and reading the play.
They don't have any more options. They just need to send the house, even if it means sending all 3 players on offense. They need 3 goals, and here's maybe a chance. Fluffy just needs to put it in, but Johnny, so composed to the goal line, saves 2 of their shots. Johnny pushing into the corner. That's a bad bounce. Notice, takes a shot, but it's high. No one there for the follow-up. Fluffy all alone on defense, no boost. Gatman looking for the stat pad, finds it. And it's 4-0. This game, as good as over. They had their chances. They just couldn't take it, and on the other end, it's the Miracles who take every chance, take every goal. And it's just Buffalo just could not find the back of the net this game. And it's looking pretty over. And who said it? Who said there weren't going to be any sweeps today? We have our first one.
First sweep of the day. I don't think it's our first sweep of the season. I believe there was one yesterday. I could be wrong.
First sweep of Premier.
Yeah.
And there was quite a few sweeps in Rising Star. But yeah, only one in Challenger, and so far only one today. Wow, just was not expecting this. And Miracles did not seem affected by the icing at all. They just got right back into it and, just picked up where they left off, looking honestly even more dominant. Even though, the Miracles missed a couple open nets of their own, but it just didn't seem to matter. They just were so confident in each other. Communication looked perfect. They're finding each other. It looked like they're having fun. Like, you can just see it sometimes. It looked like they're having fun. And 4-0, looked pretty clean.
But that game in particular, you see the stat line, the shots, they were pretty dead even. But you look at the side of the saves, the Miracles with 8 saves and Buffalo with basically 0. So it's just, you got to put a hand up at some point. And it looked so even at the start of the game that Buffalo was getting chances and opportunities, but Miracles taking their time, playing so solid, waiting for Buffalo to make the mistakes, and do a great job counterattacking. See, all 3 games, that's how they won in that overtime. It's how they got their first goal in game number 2 there, you see. And game 3, it felt like there were 2 or 3 goals that just ended up like that. So Miracles, I think, a solid team, showing that they're not going to give you too many chances, and Buffalo maybe missing their full roster a little bit with that series. That hopefully they can come back better for the next one they play in this first week. It is a doubleheader today for all these teams.
Yeah, I'll be expecting, especially this Miracles team, to come back and have an extremely, competitive game for their second one. And Buffalo's, chin up, first game, playing with a sub, although all credit to Rob. Rob played amazing. Really, honestly, looked like he was the one leading the charge on a lot of those plays, but I'm just expecting a lot more from those teams. This will not be the last we see of them.
Yeah. And Omaha doesn't play till much later tonight, so, hopefully they get some time, recuperate after that series, but coming up next to keep the schedule going, we got the Des Moines derecho against the St. Paul Senators. I believe we're going to a break quick, and then we'll talk more about that series coming up. So don't go anywhere. Looking forward to it.
But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I want you. Hold on till I'm lost in the fire. But if I'm my therapist is saying that I should. I don't believe it, but I really wish I could. Instead, I guess I'll stay misunderstood. Oh, 'cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out. I've tried but can't seem to slow down. I don't know if I want to. in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to.
Hi. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some more MCS action on Saturday. Beautiful Saturday afternoon. Need some water because that one was a really, really good one. But at the same time, this one is going to shape up to be an even better one. Bubbly, you and I are excited. What's up, man? How's it going? You know, we find ourselves not on the same team. Not on the same team this season. Once again, playing against each other. But Des Moines Derecho taking on the St. Paul Senators. We already saw the St. Paul Senators lose their first series. Now they're playing their second one. They're getting the double stream slots for some reason. But Bubbly, you just saw a sweep in that last series. I hope you're not wanting a sweep again.
Well, you know, I don't know if you do, but I kind of like playing with Trash and Trash on the St. Paul Senators. I would love to see him sweep, but you know, didn't do too well in that first series. I think he's still getting over being sick and still like warming up as a team. Maybe he hasn't scrimmed as much practice, but I know your team, Stu. You said you scrimmed this Des Moines Derecho squad.
Indeed.
Know a little bit more about them.
Yeah. But
yeah, you do.
I do. I think that overall this is, you know, this is a series that will be a good one. But this Des Moines team is all about offense. They're a team that's going to play in the midfield specifically, but on defense, in the scrim that we played against them, they struggled on defense quite a bit. And it was due to all three of the players wanting to be involved with the play. They didn't really want to give up anything, but starting lineups on your screen. And I mean, all three are offensive heavy players, but look for Wubik to be that last man back for Des Moines. Did a pretty good job. Was kind of that role in our scrim, and got caught out quite a bit though, was the thing. So we'll see what ends up happening, Bubbly. But St. Paul on defense too was not great in that Burnsville series. Burnsville caught them so many times on many different things, but yeah, no.
But I think my one hope for that is you're playing against Mogi, and you know, first overall pick, kind of expected to beat one or two players maybe pretty consistently. So I think St. Paul, especially, I'm looking at Wolf. You know, he's a player that I think has risen pretty quickly in people's minds as, hey, maybe this guy's actually pretty good. And getting picked pretty high in the second round in that draft. I'm looking for what he can bring to the team to make a difference.
Yeah, and trying to figure out some things in Premier Chat. But other than that, Bubbly, I need your prediction for this series. I also need to make my own prediction. What am I going to go with?
First?
I think I'm going to make you go first, but
see, I think I love Trash. Wolf is my big question mark, and Trash has spoken very highly of Pink, but I haven't actually seen him play because I did not wake up in time for that first series. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Des Moines Derecho. I think on paper, Water is a player that's maybe the same caliber as Mogi, maybe a step below, but I think he might also have a few better teammates in Lubick and Wesley. So I think Derecho is a more well-rounded team that, you know, you say in the scrim they were a little on top of each other, but I think if they can figure out the comms, that I think St. Paul showed they struggled against Burnsville, and I think it'll be a similar game for Des Moines Derecho here.
Yeah.
We'll go 3-1 though. We'll give St. Paul a game again.
Yeah, and as all of the players are hopping and just waiting for Des Moines to hop in, they do. But yeah, I'm gonna go with St. Paul. I feel like St. Paul had some good moments in that Burnsville series, but Burnsville just had things had things going as far as offense goes. But just to clarify, I said that Des Moines was on top of each other in their half. They were, to us at least, they were giving us so much space on the ball, so much time. And this is two teams that I think one of them kind of plays the exact opposite compared to the other. Des Moines, I mean, to me, players who like to wait for the ball, collect it with 100 boost, and work their way down the field, where St. Paul kind of play, they get up in your face kind of brawler ball that I think we know them for, but they weren't able to play that kind of brawler ball against, Burnsville. So I think it'll be interesting to see how these two teams adapt to each other's play styles. But they said 1 sec, so I'm just going to tell them to send it when they're ready. But we're about as ready as we can possibly be. But my prediction, I don't want to go into a score, because then I'm just going to jinx it and we're going to have a game 5.
Nah, just predict game 5, then you'll jinx it.
Fine,
to be a
I'll
sweep.
put 3-2 St. Paul then. What are you? What score did you put?
I said 3-1.
You said 3-1. Really?
Yeah, I'll give St. Paul 1 game, but you're saying Des Moines solid, collecting the ball with boost in their own end. I think while the St. Paul, especially early season, might still be figuring out the chemistry, I think that fast aggressive play is very dangerous if you're not fully confident with your teammates, not fully confident individually either, as I believe Pink is a rookie, right?
Yeah, and so has not played in the league. But I mean, me and obviously Trash have known Pink for years, have seen him kind of grow through the game, almost become better and better. I met Pink when he was 15 years old, so he has slowly gotten better and better as this game has gone on. That's a good play from Des Moines to start off. That is a 3-man passing play. Wesley to Wubick on the backboard. I mean, it's just St. Paul caught in the wrong spot, Bubbly. And I mean, I know this team can work, I do, but it seems like on defense, they're either on top of each other or they're all going for the ball at the same time.
And it left all of them with 0 boosts, that all of a sudden 1 clear doesn't go out how you expect. And you got Pink jumping off the back wall with no boost, but he can't even get it out to midfields. But still see them keeping this ball in their half. Wolf goes all the way back, though, to collect this ball. Maybe trying to make an adjustment already. Solo play to the midfield, doesn't quite get the reset. You see Des Moines, you said they sat back and waited, but just looking at that play, watching them all sitting still, how does that one go in when they're so set on defense?
Well, that's the thing. You can be sitting in your net, but if somebody picks the top corner like that, that is a tough shot to save, as that'll tie up the game at 1 apiece. A good shot from Trash, but yeah, it's the they are giving St. Paul space. It's almost like they're not showing any respect to their opponents, as far as we're giving them space, etc., but at the same time, this is a Derecho team that on paper should be a good offensive team. You've got mechanical players on their side of the field. Obviously, we know how good Water was last season. Arguably the best land player at that event, besides his own teammate in Mogi, but he played some really good Rocket League. And Wesley, we know what he can do in the past. Has a ring along with Water. Wubick tried so many times, but I feel like this is one of his best teams that he's been on paper at least. But if they keep giving space to teams, it's not going to work. But overall, this has been a pretty even game. Both sides getting a couple good chances. Probably it results in a goal, and we'll see if that continues. But we're at a pretty darn good pace right now. We're working fast. That's for sure.
And both teams, it feels like, are playing pretty much how we predicted them to play. See, even now when Des Moines trying to break out, they're opting to take it slow, try and bait the St. Paul team in while collecting the boost, but St. Paul trying to cut that out, cutting rotation like that, and trying to steal those corner boosts. That boost battle, I think, is what's going to ultimately be the difference, because they seem pretty well matched. This ball finally getting out of the corner.
Oh.
Trash can't quite put it in off that post, though, but see everybody from St. Paul commit to that ball. That's that team chemistry issue, that if just one person is waiting back and the clear gets bumped out, Devo chase, but Des Moines can't find a shot coming out Water opting to drive all the way back to his net. Ubik gonna be able to bail him out with 2 minutes left in this game. I feel like this quick counterattack could lead to something. Trash with a mistouch, but Ubik not able to find the cutoff for it. So now Des Moines, is that an open net from Wesley? Can pick it back off the post. Wesley off the opposite post. How does that one not find its way in? It's over all three defenders.
Ooh, huge ceiling challenge as Wesley. I think he'll sort of double here. He does. Looks to hit it forward. Water, though, does pick up the mid boost. Can turn on this. Good 50 from Pink. But, yeah, Wesley hitting both posts, kissing both iron is able to get that one. Ubik's up early for this. Good backboard touch. Pink, though, will use all of his boost to get a backboard touch. Does end up making it as Water, mechanical as ever, on the ball. Has space. Good 50-50 from Wolf, though. Longtime teammate of Water. Obviously, Season 8. Bubbly, you remember those two at one point on the same team. You know, back when Water was, lower salary and not as, high of a salary as he is now. But, yeah, that Des Moines team was darn good at that time. As Pink looking to avoid a bump from Wesley. Does exactly that. Wolf, not the best clear. And again, St. Paul, it's similar to the Burnsville series where they're all three players on, sub 20 boost. Not a good place to be. As good patience from Wolf. Water does find a bump, but it's a double commit out of St. Paul. They almost beat the last defender as that shot will be on target. Wolf has no boost, but he is able to save it. 13 seconds now, Bubbly. And we have been locked in this orange side for a majority of it. As I think that would have been a shot on target for Wesley, but the dunk from his own teammate, and Wubik comes through off the side corner. It's still up at 0 seconds. Wesley reset, though, and he did not get enough power on it. Maybe he did. Trash blocks the infield pass as they will kiss it down to the ground, and we're going to overtime, Bubbly, but man, St. Paul had to play some defense.
They did have to play some defense, and it looked so scary the whole way throughout, but it seems like just individual mistakes from Des Moines on that final shot. They can't figure out how to get out of each other's way. Good pass in field, though, off the back wall, and Wubik with an open net there. Very quick into overtime. You see one good demo, Wolf out a boost, and Pink is in a 2v1 in a terrible situation to read.
And St. Paul going to lose this one in overtime, and Des Moines will win game number 1. But tough sledding again for St. Paul, who, lose this one in overtime. It's been close games for them. Wall 1-goal games, Bubbly, besides that last game against Burnsville. But here, they were locked in their half for a long time, not able to get out, and, maybe looking for the clears. I don't know if that's their plan, but, I mean, at the same time, Pink has 0 shots on the board. And it's going to be tough to win a game when you have a player on your team with no shots.
I mean, I think that's just the chemistry's not quite there, the confidence, where I saw Pink double committing, especially on defense a couple times with one of the other players, and it just leaves you so vulnerable that you can't get out of your half. You have to use all your boost to get back into position. You can't use your boost to go up the field, cause trouble. I feel like Senators, this might just be a first week, still need to get used to playing with each other. I don't want to call it shocked yet, even though I predicted Des Moines to win, but I think Senators really got to figure something out in this game too, even with it being that close.
It's... I mean, 15 seconds in here, and already some high-flying action. Trash will hit that one off his backboard. A good double to keep that in the corner, but again, him and Wolf kind of on top of each other, and I don't want to give Water a ton of space as a flip reset. Shut down by Wolf, though. Pink will get a beat on the ball. It's an open net for St. Paul as they've got all day to put that one in, and they finally catch Des Moines hand a little bit too far in the cookie jar, and that's one that has to go in. You've got 0 booster Water rotating all the way back. You've got all day if you're Wolf to put that one away.
You got all day, and it was a great read on the play from Pink. He had no boost, but it's like, finally it's my turn in the rotation. I know I can beat 1, and for some reason 2 go for Des Moines. So maybe finally some miscommunication there from the derecho, but feel like they're relying on Water a little bit on this defense. Able to collect his boost and beat 2 players on his own back wall. It'll lead to a good counterattack chance. Wolf a pre-jump to the top corner, though. Not quite sure how he read that one, but reads another infield pass with a pre-jump. Finally, Des Moines trying to slow it down and get it around the corner, but shot mid doesn't quite come on net. Wesley trying to recycle it, keep it mid, but St. Paul looking comfortable in this defense now. Even on low boosts, they're reading the play. Might be on top of each other a little bit, but nothing's been threatening for Des Moines, even though they've been on offense for the past 30 seconds, a minute straight. Finally breaking out in one misread from Wubik around the corner. I slowed down my talking because I was like, yeah, this is easy touch for Wubik, collecting it in his corner. Just one bounce, he doesn't read quite right, and that's that offense you're talking about. St. Paul taking advantage of it.
Yeah. So I mean, St. Paul up 2-0 here. It's a good start for them. Maybe a third off the backboard. Wolf redirect is shut down by Pink. Is trash off the sidewall. Good double into that corner. Looks to stay on it. Gets a pinch off the backboard. Water has that touch. Can't get it to go. Wolf will keep it in the half as Wubik just flying at Wolf right behind him, but it doesn't make any contact on the ball. And I mean, if you're Wubik there, you're just sending it to try and do what you can. But this has been a better game from St. Paul. This one looks a little bit more cohesive. And what we thought we would get out of this team is just a little bit better Rocket League as far as they're not overcommitting, they're not sitting too far back, they're not giving teams a ton of space. As Pink in the midfield cuts that off, will get a 100 booster result from it. Wesley gets a fake, does get by one more, but does give it away in the end to Trash. Wubik is dunked by Trash as well. Wubik did have a little bit more on it, but Water collects on his backline 100 boost to work with. What can he do?
Immediately dunked out in the midfield by Pink is what he can do. The St. Paul again just off the sidewall. Shot bounces off the back wall, and we're seeing Des Moines' boost starting to run out. Water having to drive off the ceiling just to get the height he needs to hit the ball. Trash air dribble counterattack. Wubik jumped, but couldn't quite get it over him. Wolf, great touch to himself, but shot off the crossbar. Be a tough one as bump coming out. Pink and Trash up with no boost. Wolf able to find possession. Trying to get around the corner. Musty Trash is there. Fakes the shot. 2 pre-jumps from Des Moines. But Pink trying to make something happen. I feel like that could have been a shot, potentially, despite it being a tough angle. But, St. Paul, this 2-goal lead, they're looking comfortable, and they're still pushing for a 3rd goal. I really like how they're playing this game.
Yeah, I know it's been a lot of pressure for St. Paul, and we have not been in that orange half too much, Bubbly. This has been different compared to that first game where it just seems like St. Paul couldn't get out of their half. Now they're struggling to not score against Des Moines as the derecho giving them a lot of time. As that shot from Wesley gets a double, follow up from Water is blocked out by his former teammate Wolf. As I'll shut that down immediately. Wolf looks to follow up on this. Does get the dunk. As that'll go into the corner. And Water and Wubik double coming out of that corner. They're full boost, but at the same time, Wubik kind of gives the ball away. And now Water is going to have to burn that corner boost. And as a result, maybe it's his teammates who don't have boost behind him. But Water works into that corner. 20 seconds to go. And Des Moines trying to press. Give them maybe a chance. As Water finds the top right corner. 18 seconds to go. Maybe they get a kickoff goal.
There's time. There's a chance. You finally saw Des Moines turn up. Water opting to turn for the shot instead of going for that mid boost. And, just that one little turn to keep the pressure instead of playing for the next play. Took them 4.5 minutes to decide to put some pressure on, but it's what they need potentially. Wubik trying to make something happen, but given possession to Wolf, who kills the clock so well, finds a good double touch, but all 3 on Des Moines sitting in net. Counterattack chance, 3v1 chance. What will Water do? Just pops it high in the air to commit. Wesley and Wubik both make contact. That ball just finds its way floating into the back of the net.
Ooh. And they both went, and it was that midfield touch, Bubbly, that, I mean, it was good, but at the same time, it gave them that opportunity. Pink, though, off the dunk right away. This one's going to be awkward for Wubik to deal with. Uses his post. Wolf off the backboard, shut down by Water. As Water just sitting behind the boost. Five in his tank. Just trying, willing the ball maybe to come back to him. Come here, please. It won't return back to him at the end of the day as Wesley into that corner. It's going to bounce good for Pink, though, as he'll collect. We'll get the bump. Trash waiting on this touch. We'll play around one. Gets kind of a double commit out of the Des Moines half as Wesley plays midfield. Pink pop up air dribble. Does get over Wesley. Or Wubik, excuse me, as Water will have it covered and sit behind it. Here's a chance for Wesley. 50 off the sidewall. That's going to bounce really awkward for St. Paul to deal with. Not a ton of boost, but Wolf is able to make it work. Has 2 goals and 2 saves in this game so far. Having a pretty good game. As another double commit from St. Paul, and they're just on top of each other when it comes to second man play, Bubbly. They got to clean that midfield up because they are getting opportunities, but really tough to score when you don't have a third man. It just turns into 2 people committing to the same ball.
Mm-hmm. They're getting chances, but Des Moines, they're finally getting chances as well, and I think it's just great shooting placement from Water. That looked cookie cutter from the first goal, shooting it top right, rotating in with low boost. That St. Paul just wasn't quite ready for a shot there, overcommitting just a little bit on that second man. They all rush back to defense, and it's not often we see all 3 of St. Paul sitting in net, and even less often that they get scored on for it.
And yeah, that's the previous game's replays. Hold on. Let me just hold on. Let me just fix it, Bubbly. We're good. I got to show you guys, this game's replays because it's not the same. It's different. But yeah, we're gonna go to game number 3 here in just a second. But yeah, Bubbly, it's been a tough one for sure. As this replay will come up from this past game, and St. Paul had the 2-0 advantage. Thought that I thought they had it in hand. I really did. I mean, they were playing well, but again, just giving too much at the end. 20 seconds left, and nobody comes out of the corner to challenge the ball. I mean, I'm not trying to rip on them too much, but it's like, guys, there's 20 seconds left. Somebody's got to be full committing to the ball and forcing on a play, because basically they let Des Moines walk through their corner.
Especially when that's like how they play. That's their play style. They're challenging everything. And it was so surprising. You're up 2 goals with 20 seconds just to not see anybody on the ball. Like, you got to play a little safer, I guess, when you're up 2 goals. But what kept them so far ahead and what kept Derecho so far behind was that pressure. Even when they were up 2 goals, Derecho couldn't find a way to break out and get a good offensive pressure going. But St. Paul already starting off game number 3 the same way, getting bumps on the ball, beating players in the midfield, pre-jumping the shot, and gives Wolf the possession with full boost. Water able to beat all 3 players, uses his whole tank to do it. Gets a good pass mid, but cut off at the shot again by Pink. Wolf now going to have time. Trying to get it around the corner, but Wubik cutting it off, beating another air dribble. Pink pre-jump, able to get a touch high, but follow up is slow from Des Moines. Water opted to take it slow, and I feel like him going fast and taking shots last game was what got them in the game.
Yeah, and opts to just use the time to his advantage and get the shot, but at the same time is gonna take it into his corner here. Full boost and a pinch off the ceiling. Good catch though from Wolf as he gets 2 defenders to go. Pink lining up a double. Water does have that follow up, and just seems like St. Paul, there's so much space between each other at the wrong time, and there could have had a follow up off that Water misplay, and now Wesley looking for a flick, shut down though by St. Paul on defense. Can they get out of their half is the thing though, as Pink will pop that one up. Can't sit behind it though for too long. Wesley has it as Water We'll look for a block on the 50, but that's midair. I mean, midair play, Bubbly, is what we're going to see from Water and Wolves, too, specifically. Is that those guys so good at popping the ball up and really getting going. Water, yeah. I said midair play. He's pre-jumping. He's pre-jumping Wesley. It's 0-0. Except in the series, they're up 2-0. I mean, the guys just got confidence, but pop-up air dribble from Trash. Wolf not able to get back to that one. No boost, and this game almost halfway done, Bubbly. No scoring just yet.
No scoring just yet. I'm really liking Des Moines. Seem to be turning up the pressure, going for these shots from that sidewall, but got to be careful on the counterattacks. They're leaving each other back alone on defense. I would love to see some more demos coming out from St. Paul now that Des Moines is leaving one back on defense. You just see him going up for shots, trying to beat him to the ball. Trash just off that post. That near post shot was available, but Wesley, bad touch back. I have to be saved by Water here. Taking his time getting the boost. That demo follow through from Trash. Wesley off the sidewall, but no boost of all. Great cutoff from Trash. Chasing it back. Counterattack chance. Pink passing up to Wolf, but not quite there. So now Water's so worried about the fake challenge that has to go all the way back. Wesley trying his shot from the sidewall.
Oh,
great ball. That was when you know Water scores. Trash that in and out save. Getting it down the field, but all three from St. Paul, low boost. Not going to be a shot immediately without a big miss like that from Wubik. 1v1 Wesley against Trash. Opts to go low. That ball finds its way into the top left after an interesting 50.
Yeah, no idea how this one skirts its way in. Is kind of 50 just goes directly in the net, and I mean it's tough because St. Paul had two back-to-back great saves and not able to get anything on the counterattack from it. I thought they had a good chance there as Pink. We'll pop that one up. Try and go off the backboard. But again, it just seems like it's the same play from St. Paul over and over again. Pop-up air dribble into a solo play that is forced to the backboard by Des Moines every single time. And we have got to see something different from St. Paul here if they're going to break through.
I do like it. We're getting these demos, though, and that pop-up air dribble, it gives your teammates time to separate space out from each other a little more. I haven't seen as many double commits from St. Paul in the last game or two. Just, you got to find something a little more threatening now that Des Moines is adapted to that plan of attack. Trash trying to catch Wesley out with no boost. Bad touch middle, but no shot coming through. Pink turns off it. Wolf trying to commit in the corner, popped up. Wolf and Trash both jump, but nothing coming out of it. All the way back on their defense. St. Paul trying to make something happen, but Trash, no boost, can't do much. Water air dribble bump. Wubik's just waiting for the follow-up. 50 going over towards Wesley. Dunked out by Pink. You got 10 seconds left. You got to make something happen. Water clear it off the sidewall. Wolf just can't quite read it. Now Trash takes a 50. The ball's in the air. Wesley corner double. Gets the ball middle. There's so much time, but Pink and Wolf both just backflip under the ball. And Des Moines derecho 3-0 sweep that series.
And a back-to-back sweeps is what it was. And I mean, tough, honestly. I mean, it just felt like, St. Paul not on the same page, especially in the midfield. A lot of double commits, and obviously, not the best day of Rocket League for St. Paul. So they'll go 0-2 on the day, and Des Moines will get their, I believe, their first win of the season. But did they play earlier? I'm trying to look, and they did. So Des Moines is actually 2-0 on the season. They beat Bemidji in Game 5, and so they didn't beat Bemidji. That is not till 5:30. Excuse me. So they're 1-0 technically. Apologize for that. I was looking at challenger scores. God, I have one job. One job, Bubbly, and I'm looking at the wrong scores.
You have a lot of jobs. You're casting, producing,
I'll
putting
go
scores
outside.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
My bad.
Love you, Bubbly. Love you. But yeah. St. Paul, tough week of Rocket League for them. Hopefully they can rebound for next week. But the good news is, Bubbly, we're gonna play 2 more matches next week. You could literally be 2-2 after 2 weeks. So don't take it too strong. But yeah, tough for sure. As
it felt like St. Paul, they were just good players. They just weren't playing together all the time. They had different ideas for what to do on offense. They had different ideas for who was going on defense. It cleaned up a little bit in game number 2, and it felt like they fixed it just by going for more solo plays, but I feel like they lost their identity a little bit. Game number 2, game number 3, that led them to that success at the start of game number 2 especially. And Des Moines, they were a good solid team. They were playing together more than I expected them to, and it really just felt like individual mistakes are what got them scored on when they did lose. That there were a couple double commits you saw there in that replay, but overall it was just misread off the corner going in the net. And I'm really liking the Des Moines Derecho squad. I think they got a good season ahead of them.
I do too. I think they're a solid team. Indeed, but I thought they would be solid on offense, and as we're seeing, the series replay highlights, but that game 2 is going to haunt St. Paul for a long time coming, because they would have been tied up in the series bubbly at 1 apiece going into that game 3, and tough to work with for sure. But we'll see what ends up happening. Is I'll hop back over to us, and we'll close out for this series. Bubbly, it's been back-to-back sweeps, so it's been kind of crickets around here. Not much crazy action besides that 0-second goal.
I mean, we got a little break in there when Omaha was trying to find another player for the sub, but it was pretty clean series, quick going through it. I know you've been trying not to jinx it and predict sweeps, but sweeps we get. And even though it was 3-0, it really didn't feel like it. We saw at least one overtime. I can't even remember if there were more, but they were all close games regardless, where both teams seemed to have opportunities in that one. And same with the Omaha Minneapolis one before this. Going into the next one though, was it St. Cloud Flyers and Brainerd Victory?
Indeed it is, Bubbly. We're due for a break. When we come back, it is going to be a good one. Bubbly, I'm excited. Brainerd Victory, St. Cloud Flyers, your marquee match, your 5:15 match, your last match of the day marquee match rolls onto the field. The defending premier champions with a completely different roster are going to play the Brainerd Victory, who basically rebuilt their whole roster, got a brand new GM and a brand new team. We'll see if it pays off for them. That match is coming up.
Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. 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 Don't pause. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Press play. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Don't pause, press play. Press play. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. 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 Don't pause. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Press play. Press play. Don't pause, press play.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for our last marquee matchup of Week 1 Premier. We got the St. Cloud Flyers against the Brainerd Victory. I'm here joined by AK, the greatest stats legend in all of MCS history. Also a caster. How's it going, AK?
That is some praise coming from you, Mr. Bubbly. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're here to watch the Brainerd Victory against the St. Cloud Flyers. Our last match of Week 1 of MCS Prem. All I know is like both these teams have not gotten the best start. As I say that, I'm looking at the wrong league. I just pulled the Stewie, unfortunately, which is fine. Yeah, St. Cloud beat Fargo. But the Brainerd Victory just lost their first match. They got swept by the Duluth Superiors, which is not, and they scored 1 goal in all 3 matches, which is. It's not looking good for the offensive output, but maybe they learned something that they will put into practice for us. How are you feeling about this matchup? Will Brainerd Victory step up, or will
Brainerd is a strange team for me because I feel like everyone knows Bryant as a defensive guy, right? But you look at the stats; he also usually has the most shots. So I'm kind of expecting him to be that offensive output and the defensive output for Brainerd, which. I don't know how well that works out for them, especially that last series they're just coming off a 3-0 sweep loss. That the mental's probably not too high right now either, but I also know that a couple nights, I'm like, hey, Cole, it's 2 a.m. You want to play some games? And he's like, oh, sorry, I'm doing a replay review with my MCS team right now at 2 in the morning. So I know this is a team that's putting in the work, putting in the effort to try and get better. And I'm not quite sure. I know Fusion Bleach, Zodak, Kaz are all good players. But they all kind of seem like players to me that are just like, yeah, I guess I'll just show up and win if I have to, I don't know what you think about them as much. I don't know how much you know about them.
I mean, the fact that they scored 1 goal in the first series of the season is not making me very hopeful for them. Having said that, as you said, Bryant, we all know how much defensive work he puts in, but he is also the offensive linchpin on this team. And as I said, maybe they picked something up in that last year. They did score their last goal, the 1 goal in the final match. So, as we're waiting for the players to get into the lobby,
you gotta do predictions. Who are you predicting?
I'm looking at these stats for the as you said, I am a stats guy. I am a stats nerd. I love my stats.
Legend.
And I'm looking at the both the matches that these teams played. I'd be crazy to root against St. Cloud. They scored like 12 goals in full games, and yeah, I gotta say, St. Cloud 3-1.
We got the players joining the team now. I think I'm still gonna go contrarian route. I think I'm going Brainerd victory. Maybe they figured something out in that one game, or maybe they just don't know how to beat Sean and Fours. Maybe Sean and Fours are just too good as a duo. And getting into it to start. Brainerd already looking solid. Cole trying to get it around the corner. Nate gonna pass that ball. Weak shot on net. Demo coming out. Cole able to dodge the follow-up. 13 seconds in, they already have as many goals as their whole last series.
They do. And if that's what they need to do, clear the net. Cole, as just Nate puts it on net, Cole clears the goal line. Goal. 13 seconds in. That is, as you said, that is already better than they did for their whole last.
Maybe a little harsh, but I mean,
it is true. The facts speak for themselves, as they almost get another one.
Mean to Bryant is what Stewie's saying. I don't know if Bryant deserves all that though. Looking solid so far.
Yeah, if I say anything negative about Bryant and this Brainerd Victory team, I've been commanded by Stewie. It is not coming from me. As the St. Cloud Flyers try and get a foothold in this game. Early goal, 13 seconds. I'd probably call it a kickoff goal with a good demo. As Brian is stuck on defense with low boost, but the save Meister himself, just very easy save for him.
Brainerd, all 3 of them low boost. Cole with a good pre-jump off his back wall, but a little miscommunication from Flyers on who's shooting it. Able to get a clear out for Brainerd, but only to the midfield is Zodak. Good dribble, open net if he's quick with it, and Nate caught going for that corner boost. Thought the team killed enough time for him to get it, but Zodak, good beat on the sidewall. Looking good so far from Zodak. I was a little worried coming in. I haven't seen him play that well in a few seasons. As maybe last season he got a little carried by notice, but who are you looking for on both sides of the field? I know we talked about Bryant for victory, more so for Flyers.
Kaz is a player that interested me in combines. I really liked what I saw from him. I was considering him for my third round. Obviously, I went with Kai, and I'm very happy with my choice. But as I said, I really liked what I saw from Kaz. And as the third round on this team, I think he could as long as he's solid. He's very fast. He's very consistent in his 50s, and if he continues on that path, I think his teammates in Zodak and Fusion Bleach, he will allow them to create as much offensive pressure as possible because he's a dependable third. So he's a player I'm looking at. As I talk about his defense, his offense, creating a goal for the St. Cloud Flyers, as he almost snipes the top left. Instead, comes off the post, and Fusion Bleach just comes in to clean up, and Nate, unfortunately, cannot do anything about it.
Just a suffocating offense from St. Cloud so far. Shots going off the post. They're getting bumps in there involved. Everyone's there to follow up a touch. They're looking really like a cohesive team already, even though it's the first week of the season. Again, another threatening pass middle with a bump attempt to follow it. And every counterattack from Brainerd so far cut off before a shot even comes through. Zodak trying to get it around the corner. Kaz gonna have to keep it in the midfield. Fusion opting to fake challenge. Beats Cole to that aerial. Bryant gonna collect with no boost. Able to pop it high, but Kaz slowing it down. Good communication, leaving it for Zodak. Almost beats Nate out with no boost. Another shot coming through. Double commit on the defense from Brainerd is looking a little bit on top of each other already. St. Cloud up 2-1 in the game. Sitting in defense, waiting for a good shot to come in, but Brainerd not finding a way to get power behind it. They're opting to try and place it, and there's still just 3 people in net. Bump coming back, gonna leave Kaz 1v1 full boost. Goes for a flip reset, gets the bump on the follow through. That's a great way to beat Bryant in net, just bump him out of the way.
Maybe I was wrong to talk about Kaz's defense. His offense is showing out in this game. And I'm honestly very, very scared for Brainerd if this continues, because the offensive pressure they've been under since scoring in the first 13 seconds has been insurmountable. As Brian tries flicking, Nate tries flicking Fusion Bleach and to no avail. Their offense is just not, it's just tame. Just tame, and I really, really like the spacing from the Flyers as well. As they get a fourth. Yeah.
That one hurts to see. I gotta watch it back. I don't know if that was quite an own goal, but a big misread from Nate, and Bryant takes it, but right into the bottom of Nate's car. That's tough miscommunication. Really seems like Bryant's like trying to do everything so far for this series. That gotta see Nate and Cole wake up a little bit. Maybe a chance. Nate full boost, gets it over one, but only as far as Fusion Bleach on that sidewall. Passing play coming out. Kaz to Fusion to Zodak. Shot doesn't quite get there. Defensive demo. It's a chance for Brainerd to break out, but the boost just isn't there to keep possession.
Yeah, and as this game continues, it looks like the Flyers' confidence is growing, and you got to fear for Brainerd victory. The spacing is just off. They're too close together. Well, they're not close enough together. They literally nothing they do is going right. Which is very surprising from a team that was. I feel like a lot of people knew that this would be the team if the draft went well enough. Like, this would be the team for Bryant. But he knew these players. He has played with his players. He's wanted these players. And for it to be like this after just getting swept and scoring 1 goal in 3 games, it's. I mean, it is just first week, so maybe like I shouldn't be talking all doom and gloom, but I am not being impressed from what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, it is first week, but obviously Bryant and Nate have played together, and I know Bryant and Cole have been playing a lot together the last week or so. This was one of the teams that I thought team chemistry would be one of their strengths coming into week 1 compared to other teams, but really it looks more like solo plays are working well. As again, Nate just taking the ball off Bryant's car. Bryant had so much time in the air, no one there. Flip reset defended by his own teammate. Now Brainerd getting boost starved at their own end. Both their back corner boosts gone. Kaz keeping that aggressive pressure. Getting a demo on net. Fusion trying to have some fun. Doing something on the back wall, but clock winding down. 5-1 lead. Gonna be a game 1 win for the Flyers. Can they get a 6? Zodak's still going for demos. Just giving it to Brainerd. Finally, this ball goes down. St. Cloud Flyers. Convincing game number 1 there.
Yeah, and maybe I was being generous by saying 3-1 to the Flyers. Again, like, what do you think the victory has to figure out? Obviously, we didn't get to watch the first match, but I mean, they have 1 goal and they conceded 5, so it seems like they're on track to be on the same pace. What do you think, based on what you saw in that one game, in that first just 1 game, that you think they can do better?
I really think just team cohesion, trusting each other a little more. There were a few times where they were double committing on defense, especially, but also just trusting that your team has it to go get your boosts, because I think they were left on 0 boost after the St. Cloud Flyers went for demos, boost steals, and then victory, because they were so invested in, like, maybe I should support this teammate, maybe I should do this. They weren't super confident on where they were. They were always just adjusting just a little bit, and Flyers just took advantage of it. I think it's hard to say because, especially after losing 4 games in a row now in the last 2 series, but I think it's just a confidence. You're Brainerd, you got to be confident in what you're doing. Saw solo play opportunities from Nate and from Cole and from Bryant, and none of them connected. So if that's the offense they're going for, you just have to have the confidence to hit them, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and obviously, like criticism or advice coming from a player at my level to players at this level is like obviously taking it with a grain of salt. But it just seems like the offense is also just one player at a time, where like there's no follow-ups, there's no second man, and as you said, the team cohesion is what they need. But that's easier said than done, and hopefully they can at least put up more of a fight than they did in game 1.
Already St. Cloud Flyers picking up right where they left off on this offensive attack. Zodak getting it high over 1. Bryant low boost and jumps for it. Now Nate no boost can't even reach that ball, just an inch off his own back wall. All flying middle. Chance for Bryant, beats 1, dunks another. Follow up from Cole, be on net. Kaz waiting back. Here's this one away easily. Beat 2 out on that 50. Now Flyers looking comfortable still. No shot coming through from Brainerd. And all 3 retreat back. Gonna give Zodak a chance to break out off the sidewall, but can't quite find its way middle as Brainerd, again, they're on the offense, they're on the attack. I'm liking a little bit better what I'm seeing so far from this game, AK.
Yeah, and as the Flyers double commit on defense, both zero boosts usually stuck on the backboard, backflips, and Brian gets a goal. So they doubled the tally. They have 2 goals in the series. That should be some cause for celebration.
Oh, I can't with Stewie laughing in the background. But you know, it was a good breakdown. You know, they have the pressure. They finally just kept the pressure. They got Fusion Bleach uncomfortable on the backboard. It's a tough save driving down, and just flip out of habit, out of panic, and you know, obviously you can't move downwards if you're flipping. So I'll leave Brainerd with a lead in this series. It's where they started game 1. They had the lead. See if they can hold it. So far, good 50 coming out. Bryant waiting back. And beat out Kaz to that ball. Trying to find something mid. Fakes it for Cole. Shot just off the corner. Now, Zodak demoed on the rotation upfield. Nate trying to take a long shot, but Fusion able to get back to it. Brainerd opting to keep this pressure, keep possession. Good unintentioned back pass, but Nate trying to find Bryant. Bryant just killing time for his teammates to get involved in the plays. Well, again, trying to back pass to Nate. Fusion causing chaos there in the corner, trying to make something happen. Flyers, looking at their boosts, they all have no boost, and I feel like that was one of their big advantages in the first game, too.
Yeah, and it feels like this lead for Brainerd is more deserved, I would say, in this game, as they almost consider an open net, because the first one was just in 13 seconds just because of a good bump, and then they just conceded 5 to go with it. But this one, they've had some sustained pressure on attack. The defensive touches are pretty solid, getting it away, good follow-ups. Hopefully they can continue with 2 minutes, as that is not going to go in. The crossball coming to the rescue for the Flyers, who themselves need to figure out their defensive rotation, because I'm seeing a lot of double commits, especially from Fusion Bleach and Zodak.
Big dunk coming out, though. These follow-up shots from Brainerd just not quite able to find the net, despite getting the Flyers so starved. Cole trying to get around the corner, but Zodak able to pop it high. Nate, full boost, gets bumped into a triple off the ceiling, but still nothing super threatening as Oz can't reach that play. Gonna give Cole a chance to keep this one in. Leaves it for Nate. This is the team communication we're talking about for Brainerd, but that one, almost disaster for the Flyers. Finds its way rolling in from the corner. Pinched away at the last second, though. To give Flyers a chance in the offensive. Kodak trying to get it around the corner, taking it slow. Cole pops it middle, Fusion the follow-up, but saved away at the last second. Now, Brainerd clearing the ball out, killing some time, trying to hold this 1-goal lead on defense as Flyers just again, just don't have the boost to make it happen. Fusion, big miss off the sidewall there. Can Brainerd find something? Bryant just has to beat one, but Fusion, good recovery. Again on 0. See if Flyers, 30 seconds left. What are they going to do to win this game, AK?
I mean, all they got to do is just continue as they have been. The one thing I've noticed, it seems like Bryant is just much further forward. He's just continuously cutting the midfield as much as possible compared to that first game where he was like primarily on defense. I think this is Bryant's game. Like he just took up his cape and said, "I'll do it myself." As Nate almost gets it in, and the Flyers need to go on offense. 12 seconds, not much time left. As Kaz does not get it over Nate, as the clock ticks down. Zodak with 0 boost gets a 50. Fusion Bleach tries hitting to himself, but Brian is already there, and a good bump from Cole on the backboard. And Brady take a game. Oh my god.
Brainerd do take a game. Was a 1-goal game, but with a defensive heavy play style like Bryant, you kind of expect that for a lot of games. But despite that, you see on the stats board the shots and the saves both pretty even. Just about as even a game as you could get, I think. I think both teams didn't have many opportunities to score. Seems like they were still. That almost felt like a game number 1 where they were like feeling each other out and what to do.
Yeah, and that's,
I don't know if you agree.
I very much agree, but I will say that was good for my prediction. Having said that, from a Brainerd POV, I think it's like they took a game, but small victories. They scored the goal, they scored 2 goals, they won a game, and now they hope to.
Where's Nate?
I'm not going to go there.
it's like playing in an arcade. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like. That's great. Maybe take a mid-series break if they call a timeout once those are a thing. But anyway, back to the analysis. Sorry to cut you off.
Nah, it's fine. My thoughts are gone now. It's fine as we get into game 2.
Game 3.
Game 3.
1-1 in the series.
I blame you for confusing me. It's fine. As if Brian is smiling. Well, maybe his confidence is back. I mean, he was playing like the most confident player on the pitch. He was, as I said, like cutting everything in the midfield. He was like the first man constantly. And if they continue on that path, I mean, the next question I guess in the path is, will Brainerd score more than 2 goals or 2 goals in it? Because they haven't done that yet this season.
The way the momentum shift, and they might. It looks like they're starting to pick it up on offense, like going for these touches, keeping pressure. Even that, just double jumping for a bump into the net. That's not something I'd typically expect from a, solid rotational team like this. But
doesn't seem like it. But I will say as the series has progressed, the defensive structure of the Flyers has also become a bit questionable because it just seems like 2 of them are on 0 boost constantly. And they're just double committing. As Fusion Bleach gives the ball to Bryant. Brings him back. Yeah, and I think this game is... As the bump comes through, but Zodak misses a shot. I was going to say, this game is now at a standstill. This feels more like a game 1 than the other one even. As both teams are filling each other out. I would say Zodak probably should score that. Player of his quality.
The boost just ran out at the end of the play there for him, maybe just a little bit higher than he was expecting, but Fusion Bleach all the time in the world, everybody on Brainerd just waiting for the ball to fall, but gives Flyers a chance to keep it. Nate bangs the ball back. Zodak didn't quite make that read off the wall. Bryant's pass middle, no one there to follow. Kaz and Zodak, big double commit. All falls back to Fusion Bleach. He's going to chase this one down in the corner. But Bryant getting the ball out. Zodak going for a sidewall double. Fusion pre-jumping his miss, but a little bit of miscommunication potentially.
Pre-jumping his mate's miss is a different level of... You know what? This is problem. They're better players. So I thought, yeah.
No, go ahead. Be brutal. Stewie said diabolical.
They tell you to trust your teammates, but I mean, trust something. Whether it's the miss or the touch, but
goal line redirect almost there for Fusion. Sodak, flip reset goes straight down. Big misread from Fusion. Kaz demoed his last back. Maybe a chance for Brainerd. Bryant trying to make something happen, double off the ceiling, but it's cleared out. Nate last back, gonna have to keep this ball in. Ball comes flying all the way back to Brainerd's end. Bryant full boost off the back wall. Cole is the first there, but doesn't make the read as Fusion just able to clear that to the sidewall. Zodak, big dunk out. Kaz gonna chase this. Gonna try for a pinch middle, but good composure, not jumping. Just taking a good 50, getting the ball out. Again, we're 3 minutes into this game, and I still can't believe there's 0 goals here. Another chance coming out. Good pass middle. Cut off Zodak in a 3v1, but somehow makes a good 50. Keep this ball in the Brainerd half. All chilling in the midfield. Good shot coming out. Saved away by Fusion Bleach. Zodak up, beats Nate. That's all 3. Can Kaz find a shot powerful enough? Cole with 0 boost. I think he just panicked and rushed it a little bit there.
Wow. If Brainerd lose this game like that, that is going to be extremely disappointing. As they had a lot of offensive pressure over the past minute and a half. Couldn't put away their chances. And St. Cloud just come back down the other way. I would say pretty weak shot on net. I mean, Cole was low boost, to be fair to him.
But Kaz was also 0 boost, so taking that shot.
Yeah, I think he just rushed the touch and puts it in his net. But I think based on the way they've been playing, they've been increasing my confidence. Zodak should score that.
You got 0 boost bumped by your teammate.
Nah,
gotta be scoring that.
even a rising star player is scoring that, respectfully. It's fine. But
I love it. This is the trash talk we wanted out of you, AK.
Nah, I mean, with other casters, you get unbiased, These guys are all so good. Oh my god, it's a very competitive series. I don't know what I'm watching right now. Is this a Prem series or is this like a semi-challenger series right now? I need one of these teams to actually take the series by the scruff of the neck, because it seemed like St. Cloud was gonna do that, and then they gave away a game to Brainerd. They gave them a foothold, and even this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're about to take it, so I don't want to jinx them, but they have not looked good. Almost fakes him.
Brainerd trying to make something happen. Nate gets it high in the midfield, but Zodak cutting it off. 3 seconds left. Somebody's got to keep the ball up. Brian able to beat one. Now Cole's task. 0 boost on the wall. He's going to leave it for Nate, who also has 0 boost, though. Team chemistry, not quite there. Nobody's really taken the series, what did you say, by the scarf of the neck? By the scruff of the neck. And Flyers still find a way to win it, though. So, maybe they're doing something right. In the eyes of AK.
I don't know if they're doing something right or Brainerd is doing something wrong. But they do have series point. Will they close it out or will they give away another game? What do you think? Because if they close it out, probably my prediction of 3-1, I'm sure so.
It's looking great, but this is I feel like it's such a tough series to predict. Between game 1 and game 3, I feel like both teams have changed their playstyle 5 times already in 3 games. I don't know what we're gonna get. Fusion Bleach with 5 saves and 3 shots. I feel like he was on 0 boost that whole time. Then you look back at the first game, I'm pretty sure he had 2 or 3 goals. He had no saves and was always full boost on offense. So I really don't know what we're gonna get out of the Flyers. I think the victory, you might have stole a game by being solid, but you gotta make something happen on the offense here. I feel like none of their shots have been super threatening, and maybe it's just an off day for all 3 of them. That the Flyers are going to just take it, but I feel like Flyers take it and close out the series here no matter how they play.
I mean, as much as I poke fun at Brian and mentioned the man, the myth, the legend. It's like he might be listening to me right now. He just said, "Shut the hell up, AK." It's I just heard his voice from the nether. But as I was saying, as much as I make fun of Brian and Brainerd, I really like the adjustment they made after game one. After getting absolutely mauled, they adjusted. They took game two, and then they just give away another goal. I came here to be impressed, to be wowed by the highest level of competition MCS has to offer. But then these two teams, I don't know how I feel about this.
I mean, back-to-back kickoff goals. It's basically just 0-0, right? You know.
Honestly, I think I could sub in, and nobody would notice anything that different. There would be no real noticeable difference in skill.
Who would you sub in for, though? Which team?
See, I may make fun of the lobby, but I would not call out an individual player.
Come on!
I am above that. I would not.
I thought I could bait him.
As Cole makes up for the own goal last series, he threw a game for his team, and now he's looking to make up for it by taking us to 5. Well done to him. But going back to my point about Brainerd's adjustment.
But anyway, the important thing.
It seems like Brainerd just put Brian more on offense, and it's been working for them. I mean, the reason they lost last game, to be fair, was Cole just wanted to have fun and put it in his net. But and now they're like turtling again.
Oh,
I don't. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Brainerd's just trying to play to not lose, and they're not playing to win. Like, sure, you dodged the demo. Sure, you got your own corner boost, but like,
yeah,
there's a shot.
I don't know where Nate is driving to. That is something. I know I said I'm not going to call out individual players, but come on.
It's okay. Good comms.
As Brian gets bumped, still tries to get a 50. Almost beats one. Should be an open net.
Oh, can't quite find the angle though. It's off the post.
I didn't say
pass. Love to see it. Bryant again with an air dribble, beating a few defenders. Seems like he's stepping up individually on the offensive plays, but gonna need to see some team support. Great back pass. Cole to Bryant off the crossbar, off the back wall. The follow-up still all the way back in the Brainerd half. They give Flyers a chance to break out.
I mean, the goal was like a couple inches wider, like it might work out for them, but
maybe a couple feet, couple yards wider.
Yeah. Like I know you said Brian was like stepping up individually, and he really is. He's really trying to play at his best, but he is the GM. He built this team, so unfortunately, he also takes the flak for his teammates' deficiencies.
That is true, I suppose. But I feel like, at some point you gotta be like, hey, if you're my teammate and you're just missing the ball when it's a free ball, this is Premier, this isn't AK playing,
What do you mean by that? What do you who do you play next week? I'm casting you series. I'm just putting myself on the schedule now. If you're not on stream, we're putting you on stream.
All I'm saying is, I think, you said you could sub in for anybody here. I think despite how strange it may look for a series, I think all 6 of these players might be a little better than AK. Hot take, I know. But
I actually won't disagree with you. They may be like 5% better than me with like what is it, like 10 times my hours? It's an achievement, I suppose.
Makes sense.
I will say though, just trying to go back to a little bit more serious analysis, so at least roasting people at least a little bit. But Brian, I have seen Brian also play better. Like, he may be playing okay, but I don't think he's playing at his peak. As I say that, is he gonna shut me up again? I hope so. I want my prediction to come true, but at least make the game interesting. Take us to 5, show me a cool shot, do something. Come on, entertain.
Yeah, but again, went all the way up the field. He was the only one beat defenders. He drives all the way back, and both his teammates haven't touched the ball. The ball comes right back to Bryant.
Yeah, I just watched him beat 2 people, and now it is in his net.
And he's the one touching the ball.
And he's the one back on defense. Yeah.
I know in previous seasons we've been like, oh, this is a Bryant 1v3 team when he's winning the LAN. Maybe he's hard carrying, but this really feels like both his teammates just aren't having a great day so far.
I mean, the winning LAN and hard carrying bit, I feel like that's a little bit overrated. Guy just sat in net, but it's I will say, hopefully when not if, when Brainerd lose this match and the series ends 3-1 and my prediction comes true, and at the end of it, Cole and Nate watch this back. I hope you don't hate me. You know, I'm just saying what I'm seeing.
This is true. We're entertainers here. That's all we're doing.
And hopefully hopefully this inspires you to, like, you know, shut me up and do better next week, because I'm sure you can do better.
It is still week 1. It's still so early. Especially, like, I know Bryant might have been planning to pick these people, but, you know, Cole and Nate, they could have been drafted anywhere. So they had to prepare, like, who all am I going to play with? Now we got to play with Bryant. Like, there's so much expectation there and history that,
I mean,
you know, there's still a minute left in this game. There's still time to come back. St. Cloud looking pretty comfortable, though. Brainerd,
I appreciate you, Bully Reaper, because
yeah.
you just stopped me from saying something I shouldn't be saying. But you know,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Happy to help. as Bryant, again, another air dribble 50. Nate following up, 30 seconds left. We gotta hype it up a little bit for the end of the game, right? Finding a shot.
I understand
Good
hyping
play.
it up, but like hype what up? Bryant versus St. Cloud? Like I don't know. This is,
I don't know.
they have 14 seconds to do something.
Big
and
pinch,
that's
straight
pinch.
down. Zodak on goal, maybe? Zodak doesn't own goal, though. Right, there's a chance potentially, but
It's a bump.
you know, that's going to be the series. You know, it was 3-1. I honestly, it's been so long. We've been talking about so many other things other than the actual game that's happening that I don't even remember game 2 all that well. I think my game just completely crashed, so I can't even see the stats on my screen. So I have to look at the stream to see it. But, you know, the shots look even, saves look even, demos look even, but the gameplay didn't feel very even.
It really didn't. And it's funny that you forgot game 2, the one game Brainerd won, because that was a very forgettable game. But that is it for MCS week 1.
Week 1 premiere stream.
To wrap up the first week of the highest level of MCS competition, we finished with that series. How did you feel about that, Bully?
You know, I think there was still a lot to be shown for the Brainerd victory and the Flyers, to be fair. Like, obviously they won the series, but they still didn't seem like 100% cohesive together. That Brainerd victory, it seemed more individual play of just like an off day, off week. That isn't all we have to see out of them, but that's why it's so early in the season. We have so much more left to play, so much more left to do for points, that those matchups, I feel like, are ones that Brainerd's going to want back later in the season. But I could see both of these teams being great lane contending teams with the rosters they have. I think Kaz really stepped up more than I was expecting, as someone I hadn't seen play too much other than a few combines. And obviously we know what Fusion and Zodak can do. But, you know, Victory, Bryant, he built his team, he played pretty well, I think. And we'll see what they do in future weeks coming forward. But I don't know what we do for the outro for the stream. I've never gotten to do this before. I'm hoping for instruction from Stewie. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
You know, I mean, we can look at how the rest of the matches went today, both on stream and off. Just to put it.
Oh,
in there.
true. Let's tab out to that schedule score reports.
And
So
you know,
many.
the best matchups, unfortunately, were not on stream because the Rochester Rhythm were not on stream today. But the 3 matches we did play, 2 sweeps and 2 3-1s. Not as exciting as Challenger, I would say. This is Premier. The Premier was disappointing, unfortunately, but it's okay. As our first match of the day, the St. Paul Senators lost 3-1 to the Burnsville Inferno. The Omaha Buffalo, who had the GM Rob subbing in for the first game, maybe the first 2.
For all 3. Yeah.
All 3 games got swept by the Miracles, unsurprisingly, unfortunately, and Duratio swept the Senators. That also did not look good, unfortunately. And our last match we just watched, the St. Cloud Flyers just beat the Brainerd Victory 3-1, and although obviously we want to give credit to all the victors. We want to give them a little bit of a hand of applause. For that last matchup, it's hard to give the St. Cloud Flyers too much credit because Brainerd did not put a hand up, unfortunately.
It was a little tough.
Yeah. But in other news, the Rochester Rhythm have not played their second series, but in their first, they just beat the Chicago Jungle 3-1. Well done to my boys. One more match.
We still have Stewie has 2 matches left to play today. We're excited to watch Stewie's matches.
One of those matches against my franchise. It will not. I mean, he's talking in the background right now, but nobody wants to hear what he has to say. Like his team is losing, and it's not. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry. In other news, the Chicago Jungle beat the Winnipeg Alice 3-1. Bloomington, that's your team, Bubbly. You're 2-0 for me.
Team.
Well played. Well done.
Played them both Thursday. Thank you.
You know, I saw some. I saw, but you know, I saw a bunch of.
Let's go.
Let's go. That had you in D tier. You know that?
I believe it. That's okay. It's motivation, right? Like all this trash talking we're doing for all these teams we played. Yeah. So go prove us wrong next week. It was such a fun stream, even if the gameplay was still a little rough around the edges. We appreciate everyone joining us for a great week 1 premiere stream. And we hope you all have a great night, great weekend. Go get better for next week.
I was born with the story. I was born for the glory. Through the heat and the rain, can't deny and ignore me. I'm bred for commitment, signed up for a mission. Yeah, it comes with the price. It's all in the description. My time has arrived. I can't hesitate. Nothing is in my way. Knocking down barricades. On a different type of time. Dreams are never late. From the jump, I'm the person you can never break. Ain't got time for indecision. I'm a rebel, spirit strong like metal. I will never fit the wrong. No, I was born ready to be legend. I won't settle, reaching higher levels. Just you wait and see. I'ma be legendary. I'ma be legendary. Yeah, I got the power. I've been working after hours. Seize the moment. I can't back up. Call a coward. Student of the game, like I ball at Howard. You can cut me down. I can be devoured. Heart on 10, coverage on 10. All I think is win. I can't watch it in 2020 through the lens. When I fell off, I always had to try again. Got the code that connected like I'm signing in. Ain't got time for indecision. I got 'em all out. No, you ain't gonna hold me down. 'Cause I'm a rebel, spirit strong like metal. I will never fit the wrong. No, I was born ready to be legend. I won't settle, reaching higher levels. Just you wait and see. I'ma be legendary. I'ma be legendary. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. I'ma say it loud and proud. I feel like I'm the GOAT. Put some numbers on the board when I didn't have hope. Whatever comes my way, I'm with all of the smoke. Mark my words, that's the realest thing that I wrote.